Roots and Brooms is our title, everybody, which means for stream 200. That logo you see up there is going to have a little tiny visual update where we've got the title in our sub underneath Raindrop Chronicles in placement of a Twitch community made RPG, which will obviously be replaced by the title. Exciting. Episode 1 will feel more real and like it's coming to life a little bit more slowly but surely. Hi Midseg, how are you doing? Welcome back to the stream. I hope you had a good weekend. How is the game coming along? Last time I was here, I think it was around, we got a cave under the big tree. Oh yes, we were doing some, if I remember. Or if you mention cave, that means we must have thought of the concept of the cave where the reptiles live. Maybe that was when. But as for what we've been doing since, I mean, I forgot. You know what we're like here, we just do it. Actually forgot. I can't even think what we've been focusing on adding, well, not adding, but thinking and discussing new story content for episode 1 after main quest 1 and 2. So we've been doing that a lot the last few weeks. I did give our Trello page a bit of an upgrade, so anything in terms of what we're working on is on there. But today we're going to be working on expanding the dialogue of scene 1 and 3 because it needs it. We want to make it even more epic and awesome. So it's going to be fun, guys. We're gonna work on making Carol's dialogue really awesome. We'll get descriptive with some insults as well that she can say to the hero. So yes. Okay, first of all, I will be saving this poll because we want to make sure that we have a screenshot of the results. So I'll print screen that. Thank you so much, everyone who's voted on that poll. It is very exciting. I'm happy with the title. I'm definitely happy with the title. Seems like a lot of people liked it. Hi Matt, how you doing? Happy Monday. Monday doesn't quite have the same ring to it as Friday, does it? Miss the barrels? Yes, the barrels. The barrels indeed. I'm so glad that you're all so fond of the barrel characters because that is the aim. The barrels are the hook of this story, folks. If you are not like hooked because of the barrels, then we failed. We have to make sure that the barrels are the hook, which, you know, is actually a real thing because we were working on the story outline last week and Carol has the word hook right next to her, so that is kind of proof that she's the hook. Okay, so let's delete the poll then. I'm going to double check that I've 100% saved it because I get paranoid about these things before I delete it. Yes, it is there. We have the results. B, Roots and Rumours has won, everybody. It's a catchy title, it's memorable, and I was personally fond of all of them. Whatever was going to win I was fine with, but I'm glad as well that we have a short, memorable title for episode 1. Oh no, it's gone, it's disappeared. I'm sad now. I liked that poem. Monday. I mean, hello all. Hi, Binary. Shall we rename Monday to Monday? Shall we call it Monday on this stream? I'm doing well today. Yay. I'm doing well too because I'm excited for stream. So, if you've seen the live announcement, and just as a reminder, folks, the clocks in the UK have changed. They went back this weekend. So if you are living in the US or anywhere else where your time zone hasn't been changed yet, that means this week I'll be streaming an hour late for you guys until your clocks change. So just as a reminder. Don't want anyone thinking I'm not streaming by accident. So, this week we're going to add more dialogue to the first 2 Carol scenes. Time to make Carol even more awesome. Because, if anyone wants to follow, by the way, we recently started putting the dialogue trees in our lore Bible. So, if I'll give you guys the link to our lore Bible, all you need to do is go on the stories folder. We've got main quest 1 in there, and we've got main quest 2 in there as well. Because those are the quests that we've been working on. Those are the quests that will be in the first playable build when it's released. We haven't put the dialogue trees in for main quest 2 just yet, but that will be something I'm probably going to do as a sort of chill stream, maybe on Friday, once we've finished the Carol dialogue. But now Carol dialogue is priority. So if you haven't seen, feel free to have a read of the dialogue trees. If you're curious how everything's gone, what it's basically the scenes are like so far in regards to dialogue in this quest. And how can you make Carol even more awesome? Well, you'd be surprised. She's like frigging 10 out of 10 at the moment, but we're going to get her 100 out of 10 today. I mean, what it's all about is that we just want to make the scene shine as much as possible, because there's a real opportunity to show off Carol and who she is as a person as well, not just the fact she's a barrel. Because so far, let's just look at the first scene. It's very short, it's entertaining, and we're going to keep it that way. This scene is going to play out the exact same, we're just going to expand on it a little bit more, as well as the scene 3 scene when she joins the hero, which is currently a super short scene that is unfinished at the moment because we've got to be continued. So I thought today we're going to talk about scene 1, and on Wednesday we'll talk about scene 3. And hopefully that means by Friday's stream we'll have finished the dialogue expansion of those 2 scenes. Yeah, I'm excited. I've got some thoughts, so we'll have a good natter today about that and see what we can come up with. And hi Sort, how are you doing? It's so good to see you. I hope you're having a good Monday. And are you going to turn that dial up to 11? Yes. What it is, I thought it was perfect before, and then my eyes opened when I started becoming a big massive nerd about story outline and structure last week. I've become a geek for the 3-act story structure, which is why I've now labelled them as Act 1, Act 2 and Act 3. And we've got all these terms like hook, setup and everything here because we're going to follow that structure. Yes, it makes things a little bit more organised. By nature, I'm not a pantser in regards to storytelling. Raindrop Chronicles is kind of like go with the flow, improvise, which we're still doing. We're still gonna together write the story as we go on in regards to what's going to happen in main quest 3, 4, 5 and 6, though we do know some details. There's a few little bits that we know is going to happen, but there's still a lot of gaps to fill in about what's going to happen in those quests, and I'm really excited. What we do know is that we're going to go in the caves, and one of the routes involves getting disguised as a reptile. Well, the whole party getting disguised as a reptile, and the other route is going the diplomatic route. So that'll be interesting to do when we get there. But before we work on main quest 3 and 4 in regards to what's going to be in it, we're going to make sure that main quest 1 and main quest 2 are are done and dusted, because version 0.1, our first playable build, is hopefully, all going well, going to be released in the winter. But I'm not going to give a month yet. It could be January, it could be February. It's not going to be December anymore. It was originally going to be the end of the year, but it's probably not going to happen, especially because I'm going to be moving a house around that time. So there's going to be a few little distractions. But, you know, in the next few months, we're looking at a first playable build release, and it's going to contain main quest 1 and 2. So all this stuff you see here, everything we've basically done so far will be there in the first playable build. There won't be any main quest 3, 4, 5 or 6 in the first playable build, obviously, because we haven't done it yet. That will be what we start adding for the second or the third playable build. We'll slowly expand on it, and the content with each of the playable builds we release. Bit by bit, right? Oh, the disguise as reptiles made it in. Nice, haha, I feel accomplished. Yes, in fact, Forgotten, you might notice that your name is in our lore Bible somewhere. It's probably under the character profiles, because what I did, I've got a section called Community Ideas and Thoughts, so that we can keep track of any like really interesting plot points that people have mentioned. And somewhere here, I'm not sure which one, it mentions the disguises, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that I took a note of it. It might have not been put in here, but I remember you mentioning the disguises Forgotten, and I was like, yes. You're there, Forgotten. You mentioned disguises. I was like, yeah, we're gonna have that because it's just the perfect comic relief, and it'll kind of just make the whole cave sequence more entertaining. But it's going to be an optional route, because you'll get to recruit either a diplomat or a herbalist. So if you recruit a herbalist, you'll go down the disguise route, because that herbalist will find the disguise items for you. We'll like use vines for the reptile tails and leaves for the wings, and like oozy goo, green goo for the face paint. It's gonna be crazy seeing Carol dressed up. And the diplomat route will be a more like a less light-hearted route, more of a serious route. So it all depends on you as a player which route you want to go down. But it'll be super fun to like plan all that quest and see how it all goes down. Even though we've got the basic outline now, there's definitely still a lot to fill in. Now back to main quest 1. So we've got our dialogue trees, and this will update real time, everybody, by the way. So I've got it here. Here's the editable file that I'll be working on today as we think a dialogue together, and it will update real time in here. So I'm only gonna I'm gonna have a Google Doc file open as well, just for rough notes, and when it's more tidy I'll put it in here so it doesn't get a big mess in here. Otherwise it'll be a massive mess because it'll update real time. Oh gosh, I'm blushing, sounds good. Yeah, it was a genuinely great idea, and whenever someone here mentions something that I think, yeah, that's got a lot of potential actually, I'll always make a note of it. And it might, make an appearance. If it's gonna work, it's gonna work. Sounds good, yay. Okay, so is there anything else that I need to mention before we get properly started? As a rough reminder of what we did last week, I'm doing this. This is going to be a big, massive sheet of every single thing that happens in the episode. So I'm noting down when the main quests are unlocked, when a character joins the party, as well as moral points that you gain and lose, and your sort of affinity and relationship with NPCs based on choices you make. So I've noted the moral system down here, as well as any good adjectives for the infinity system. So this is what's here is every single choice that's been done so far. If it's got a black background, it means it's more of a serious choice that's going to make a massive impact. If it's got if it isn't filled in with any background, if it's just a grey box, then that just means it's probably going to just change your relationship with an NPC slightly, but it isn't going to have like huge ramifications like this or these are. And there's going to be more like consequences to either sparing or killing the fruits, by the way. I've just noted down the one that we know is definitely going to be a thing right now. But there's going to be more. There's way more consequences than just that. And I figured that sparing them would make you cowardly and foolish, and killing them would make you brave and wise, but that's still up for discussion right now. I didn't see it being something where you'd gain good and evil points in regards to compassion. The key thing is here, by the way, because really killing the fruits doesn't make you good, and sparing them doesn't make you evil, or vice versa. Really, it's difficult to like decide if it fits the good or evil scale, because they're villains, the fruits are, they're bad guys. But I definitely could imagine sparing them would be cowardly and a little bit foolish, considering the threats they've made, and it kind of is a little foolish if you want to keep them alive just because they're cute, but at the same time there's going to be pros to keeping them alive to kind of make it a hard decision. But yes, some of these, as in regards to the number of points that you gain or lose, could be adjusted as well eventually when we get to the balancing stage, because we might find that, oh no, we need less points or more points in certain situations, or even change what moral scale it belongs to. We might think, actually, that's better for the good and not for the brave scale. So, is character creation still a thing, by the way? Because I want to get back on my Raindrop collection to eventually be able to make one. Oh, I would definitely spare them in my playthrough. I always do, even if given the option. In every game I play, I don't know why. That's interesting, because that's what I want to make sure that it's a hard choice, that players are literally torn apart by the choice they've got to make. And there's not really going to be any good or bad like choice. I mean, in some quests that it might be clear cut good and bad ending, or good and bad outcome, but a lot of outcomes will be more grey and just based on your own morals, rather than like, that's good, that's the bad ending, that's the tragic one. And in answer to your first question, forgotten, yes, the character is still a thing. If you go on the website, which I'm gonna put here, I'm also frustrated because the title of the stream, I've kept trying to fit in the website so that it appears for people scrolling down the on their Twitch, but it still gets cut off. It's like raindroprpg.co instead of raindroprpg.com. I keep trying to like squish it and delete little bits so that it'll fit in, but it still doesn't. But let's make RPG is a really good title, and I don't really want to shorten that anymore. Yeah, but feel free to read this. I've added some notes to there's some bullet points to the whole character thing, just so there was a few like really important points I wanted to make that I wanted to make sure were communicated with the community, so feel free to read that. The NPC ones are open, the forms, but the playable character forms are currently closed, but only temporarily. They will be opening again at the start of 2021, but they will be an increased raindrop requirement because the playable characters are limited. We're only going to have a max of 40 or 50 in the entire game, you see, by the end, because this is such a long-term game. We're probably going to have 6 episodes, and each episode will be a 2-year development cycle, longer for episode 1 because of it being the framework. It's such a long ongoing game development that, you know, those 40 or 50 slots could be taken in a heartbeat if we don't start like making it a little bit stricter to be one. But it will open again with a high raindrop requirement, so I'll warn you, if anyone here is interested in becoming a PC playable character, it will cost more than 1,000 raindrops, so you better get lurking, folks, if you're keen on that one. And it will open again in January 2021. But NPCs will stay at 1,000 raindrops and will always be open. Right now, with the size of the community we've got, that is a perfect amount of raindrops, I think. Because NPCs, we can have many of them. You know, we need to populate our towns and villages with NPCs, so it's not like, you know, we need to close them like we would the playable characters. Yay! Okay, we'll check out. Awesome. So, there's a few little bits I added to the website as well. A few little updates. Got some trailers on there now too. Oh look, it's me. I've got my stream embedded. And what else? So yeah, that is what we was doing last week. It's a really good way for me to keep organised and keep track of everything as clearly as possible. I can just look at this and immediately know what the main choices are in each quest without forgetting. I'll admit I kind of forgot before exactly what the choices were in each scene and quest, which isn't good. We need to keep track, so this is perfect. I'm really happy with this. I've also started doing scene cards because I've become, like I say, a nerd for story outlining, and I also have started doing like little mini character bios for the episode 1 characters as well, which is just Carol and Rose so far. And Rose doesn't have a profile yet. All this is Rose's possible archetype, because I was researching a few like storytelling archetypes, and I also managed to come up with an archetype for each hero based on their morality. So we said last week that judging by this moral system, there would either be 8 heroes, different heroes, or 27 different heroes. I thought the reason why it's such a different number is because we'd have 27 if we counted all the neutral ones, and we'd have 8 if we counted just the ones that aren't neutral. And I thought 27's a bit too much and we'll probably lose track, but I still want to count the neutral, so I thought it would be pretty cool if neutral was just summed up with 1. I don't know how I would go about doing that, because technically there's lots of neutral ones. But I'll have to have a think, because that would give us 9 different hero types, and it actually works perfectly. I've got 9 cards here. Probably you won't see the text because it's a bit small, but there's 9 cards here, and each archetype I researched just happened to fit with each hero type perfectly. So whether you're an evil, cowardly, foolish hero, an evil, brave, wise one, a good, cowardly, foolish, an evil, brave, foolish, you know, basically you can get 9 different combinations, including just all-round neutral in this. So for example, if you decide to be the good, brave, wise hero, which is like obviously a bit of an OP Mary Sue hero, I figured you'd be the hero / reformer, and these would be the traits and sort of desires that would shape that sort of hero. They're a bit too perfect. And then at the opposite end of the scale, if you want the evil, brave, wise hero, which if we go down here, that's like the ruler challenger. So that's just something as a sort of a base, so that I can kind of keep in mind what the personality of each of the heroes would be, because otherwise it'd just be a confused jumble of mess and I wouldn't even know what hero is what. So that's kind of just a guide to follow, and it's pretty interesting that your hero had fallen under that one of 9. Small text, it is indeed. Hi, Music Arian, how you doing? It's good to see you. I'll be a master lurker, Rose. Awesome. Gotta love my lurkers. It is small text indeed. Also, I'm not gonna ramble on about all that today because we want to get on with the dialogue, but I just wanted to let you guys know what the plan was. I also thought up some questions. Well, I found some questions, should I say, that were some really good ones that are recommended to give characters. So this one would be for more main characters, and this would be for more side characters, small NPCs. These aren't obviously going to be added to the character forms on the website. These are just things that we develop on stream just to develop them even further than what they are on their sheets, basically. And I'm not going to answer all these for Carol now, but eventually I will. But there's one, the personality type of Carol, that sort of jumped into my mind over the weekend. I was thinking, what would Carol's MBTI be? Which, if you don't know, guys, is one of the 16 personality types. I'm actually going to put that at the top just so we remember. I figured she would be, and I think this is going to just help us when we write her dialogue as well, in all honesty, because it'll keep us consistent with her overall, who she is. We did something similar for the fruits before we wrote their dialogue. We gave each of them a trope and a sort of archetype so that we could keep consistent with their character. But I think Carol is an ENTJ. It totally isn't the most common personality type for a Sunday, totally not. But the ENTJ is, I think it's the commander. I think that's what they call it. But I was reading up, I read all 16 thoroughly, and I think out of all of them, Carol does fit that one the best. If I do this, hang on, let me just check. ENTJ. Here it is. If I can get it here, I think I'll get it up for you guys to see. Here we go. If anyone's curious, if people haven't actually heard of this, feel free to have a look if you're curious. You can have one yourself. You can test yourself in IRL if you want. By the way, you says it would be 6 episodes long. Have you thought the theme of them, or is it going to be an episode by episode basis? Because I would love to have an Eldritch theme one, or even an area of an episode with an Eldritch story around it. Sorry if I'm sidetracking you too much with these questions. No worries. I'm glad you're excited, in all honesty. Forgotten. I'll show you something actually, if you're still here. I think it was about a week ago, or it might have been 2 weeks ago now. We made an episode plan of all the locations in the world, because we wanted to see the bigger picture. Like, my style when it comes to the game dev is to focus on what we're doing now, but I did want us to just plan a very rough world map, just so we can see the bigger picture of what's ahead for future episodes. We just spent 2 streams doing this. And I did a very rough plan of what locations would be in each episode. So as you can see here, if it, I don't know if it's showing enough. Might have to edit this a bit because it looks a bit chopped off because it's silly. There it is. That'll do. As you can see, episode 1 is going to be in the Everbloom Forest. It's going to be the only location of episode 1. Start small, as this is my first attempt at doing an RPG, so I thought, episode 1, it's going to be chunky, don't get me wrong, the content in episode 1. It's going to be a bit of a full RPG in itself, well, a short full RPG. I'm hoping you guys can get a decent amount of hours play time from just episode 1, in all honesty. It's not going to be so much short and over within just a couple of hours, put it that way. So Evergreen Forest, we're going to eventually expand the maps. I mean, we got the caves in the underground of Everbloom Forest, so in a way it's going to be quite chunky in regards to content, but the future episodes are going to have more locations than just one in them. For example, episode 2 is going to have a farmland and the highlands, and they're kind of very sort of similar. The highlands are just a little bit more sort of noble and posh, I guess. I mean, the king is going to live there. That's where the capital is. Episode 3, Snow, Taiga, Mountain, Swamps, but then we go around to the west side and it's a lot more gritty. We got like more deserty, wastelandy urban places, and to the north we have some very mysterious signs. And you know, this kind of looks a bit like your sort of thing, Forgotten, if you ask me. This corrupted zone here. So yes, I think we've got a variety of different settings here. The map is quite diverse. Obviously, towards the west, we've got a more what would we call it? European inspired. The countries are like under rule here by the government. It's very scenic, very picturesque. Whereas to this side of the world, it's definitely more left behind, a bit more neglected, and a bit more wild, should I say. And the north is like very mysterious almost. It's probably a bit less populated and kind of dangerous. Like, we'd get the end game enemies here. We have a floating cloud zone above the corrupted zone, actually. Somebody had a really cool, interesting lore theory that the floating cloud zone hovers above the corrupted zone, and the reason why it's corrupted is because it's like underneath a floating cloud zone. It's like a shadow. It's the shadow of it, and all the waste gets thrown down there. It's become horrible. Oh god, yes, I need to make a character for episode 6 for sure. I don't even know if it's 10k raindrops. I need to make it happen. Yes, well, there you go. It's a long time, and I guess we figured that it's going to be clearly endgame stuff, because all this area, not only is it the opposite end of the world from the Everbloom Forest, so naturally it's going to take us a lot of episodes to get there, but also the vibe and the whole feel of it. And the mood is very, very end game. It looks as dangerous and dark as you can get, doesn't it? So I could imagine those very awful, strong end game monsters being in there for sure. It kind of just fits. So yes, now you know it is a plan. We've got the corruption down. This image here, it's kind of it was the best reference for the sort of feel that we were getting for that place. So yeah, I'd say based on your kind of what you described there, Forgotten, it would definitely be the corrupted zone. But yes, this is all very rough at the moment. The way that the maps are sort of laid out is rough. It might not necessarily be exactly like this. Things could be switched around a touch, or some areas could be bigger or longer than others. But you get the idea. And each zone is going to have like underground areas too, which we put some down here. So yes. Very fun, and 6 episodes feels like a good balance and a good amount. It's not too many to be too bloated, and it's not too little to not make it enough of an epic saga. And it also would neatly sort of follow a 3-act structure, okay, if we see it as 1 act per every 2 episodes. So because not only is each episode going to follow the 3-act structure, like, which is what I started doing here. We've got Main Quest 1 and 2 are Act 1. Main Quest 3 and 4 are Act 2, and Main Quest 5 and 6 are Act 3. So not only are they going to follow it, but the whole frigging thing as a whole is going to follow it as well. So that would mean that episode 1 is literally just the first half of Act 1 in its own right as well. Okay, looking promising and a lot of things to do, yes. Fun times, and it would be fun to see some characters for well into the future as well that you guys create for the later episodes, because we did as well sort of place everybody's avatar for their character in the world where we think they'd be from and when we would see them. And we do have a few that are more end game characters that we felt fit the end game sort of vibes. But there's definitely room for more. Some areas need characters there, that's for sure. I don't think the Badlands had any characters. The Cloud Place had a couple of characters, but some of those could be wandering around anywhere in the world as well, because some people are adventurers, and even though they're from somewhere and were born somewhere, they could be in another part of the world doing something else. I'm thirsty. Okay, so Carol dialogue. I've said she's an ENTJ. As a brief description of what an ENTJ is. Commanders are natural born leaders. People with this personality type embody the gifts of charisma and confidence, project authority in a way that draws crowds. They're ruthless, drive, determined, and also, where does it talk about strengths and weaknesses? Because this is where it really sums up Carol, to be honest. Energetic, self-confident, strong-willed, charismatic, stubborn, dominant, intolerant, impatient and arrogant, poor handling of emotions, and cold and ruthless. Okay, so the flaws are definitely, the weaknesses are very Carol, for sure. Impatient and arrogant especially. I suppose she does have some of the others too. She's quite stubborn. There's positives. Some of them I'm quite surprised. I don't see Carol in all of these just yet, but it's made me think. Actually, Carol could go on. Character arc she could become these as she grows in her character throughout the game and becomes like she feels more accepted in the group, I guess. Because part of Carol's character arc is really belonging. I thought she fit the archetype of the orphan quite well, because the orphan's desire is belonging and their fear is exclusion. Their flaws are being cynical and their skills are being open and a realist, which that's Carol to a T. Her whole goal is to find her family. She desires feeling being accepted and included in the world, but she believes she can only really get that with her own kind, the fellow barrels and containers. She doesn't like humans. She calls them flesh bags. She thinks, no way in hell will I ever be accepted by these, but that's kind of the moral of Carol's story right now, that she can be. And if you go on the romance path with Carol the Barrel as the hero, then it's going to neatly sort of be a beautiful ending to her character arc. She'll finally feel loved by somebody who is a human, a flesh bag. But at the beginning of the game, it is not a loving relationship at all. It's very, very aggressive, very violent. And seeing the journey will be quite interested indeed. I'm kind of imagining what would a romance scene be like between Carol and the hero by the end, because we don't like thinking too far ahead, but sometimes it can actually be quite fascinating to just picture it. A loving scene between the two of them. It's just so strange when you look at what it's like now. And how she despises them. So, in regards to the dialogue today, guys, I've got a few notes here. She at first feels rejected, and through the interactions and progressions, she becomes to change. It's going to be a beautiful story of belonging and inclusion, and that even barrels can have a place in the world. how wholesome in a way. Because Carol's very arrogant. She has her fears and misbeliefs, but she will never ever admit them. She will sort of mask those up as much as possible, with her ego. But obviously it's as clear as day through her dialogue and her behaviour and attitude that these are her fears and her misbeliefs. Because she's very aggressive towards people, especially humans, because of the way they've probably treated her in her life so far. That is because, as a barrel, she is feared because the whole summary of episode 1, the whole plot of episode 1, at least the first half before we go on to the reptile side of things in Main Quest 3 onwards, is that the Lakefall villagers, the humans, are very scared and fearful because of things coming to life in the forest. There was a spell that happened. It's on the Lore Bible, but nobody knows that it was a spell. Nobody has a clue what went down and why this is happening just yet. Obviously, it will all be slowly revealed and trickled throughout the series, but right now it's unknown why things are coming to life. Trees have come to life, Stumpy's come to life, plants have come to life, and all sorts of things have come to life. The fruits have come to life, and obviously the barrels, and obviously Carol has probably spent a lot of her time hiding away, because if they see her, they might try and break her into pieces, and she don't want that. Obviously she's probably not a very good fighter. All she can do is bash into things and roll. She can't fight. She can't wield a weapon or do anything like that because she doesn't have arms. So despite her arrogance and ego, she probably knows deep down inside that she can't do anything. She can't do much. So in a way she needs the hero. She has to realise soon after meeting the hero that he's what she needs, and she has more chance of finding her family again if she is with them. They fight, they can defend her and be a bodyguard for her, but Carol just has to think about and consider how she's gonna convince the hero to join her, because he probably doesn't like her much either. And right now it's very basic. We know that Carol hates the hero. She hits him, she forces him out the cart, and then she later on says, "Wait, you're not going anywhere without me," and that's it. But we're gonna fill it in. We're gonna have a bit more character development here. We're gonna try and show more of Carol, so we as the audience can get more attached to her on this journey. Right now we're definitely entertained and amused by this barrel, but we don't really know much about them, and we definitely don't even know the threats of the world just yet. So we're gonna bring in a few little things. We're gonna have a bit more impact in this opening scene. So we're gonna focus on scene 1 today, and we're gonna focus on scene 3 on Wednesday. We're going to expand both. Exactly though, forgotten. She feels rejected, and through the interactions and progression she becomes to change. And it's very, very understandable why she'd be so hostile, because really it's unacceptable that she's treated the way she is as a barrel. And eventually, I guess, Carol's character arc would be one of slowly becoming accepted into the world by races other than her own. And only through spending time with the hero and his party will those connections grow and flourish. In episode 1, it's going to be, she doesn't know them that well, or the hero that well, so it's going to be very kind of angry. Probably Carol will be at her most hostile in episode 1 compared to the future episodes. And hi Squarity, how you doing? It's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Oh my god, I never thought I'd be trying to picture a love scene involving barrels. Maybe she likes when we roll her or something. Carol sounds like a Sunday. She is a Sunday. That is her trope. So imagine Helga from Hey Arnold. That is kind of the character we've got here. And except she's not in love with the hero like Helga is with Arnold. Not quite yet anyway. I'm imagining that if you do go on the romance arc with Carol, if you do decide to romance Carol, she will eventually gain feelings for the hero, but when she does, she will be like completely in denial of it, at least at first. It's going to take some time. And she's not going to get feelings for the hero in episode 1. That is something that's going to happen more in the middle of the story, and when it does, she'll be like freaked out big time. It's a love-hate relationship. But even if you don't romance Carol, even if you're a hero that doesn't romance Carol, it's going to still be a fascinating friendship, that's for sure. And who knows, maybe if you pick all the horrible dialogue options with Carol, it can be a relationship of just hate. But oh well, we'll think about that, because some people will say all the worst things to Carol, but we have to think, why would she put up with that if we did do a barrel roll Carol? And yes, I guess that's another thing to think of. What would their romantic scene be like? Carol can't mate with anything. She doesn't have the ability to mate as a barrel. As far as I'm aware, we haven't really talked about that much yet. We have to think about how barrels feel affection, what you have to do to a barrel so that it feels wanted. This is crazy. But you know, she can't have children. Barrels don't even eat. And they don't even drink, or they don't even sleep or need food, because they're hollow inside. They don't have any organs, or they don't have like a body system that is complicated. They can literally not have to do anything to survive. But the barrel's vulnerability is honestly just the fact that they're made out of wood. They could easily break, which would mean they would die or get injured very easily. So really, that's all the barrels have to be careful about, which is pretty bad. And that is also why Carol knows that she needs a strong bodyguard to protect her. Carol should be careful. The hero might kick her over and roll her downhill. I like that idea. You know, there's going to be all sorts of very violent. I don't like using the word violent, but that sums it up best. A lot of violent interactions between Carol and the hero, such as what Kia says. I'm sure this punch where she hits the hero isn't going to be the first. And that's another thing. It's not really a punch because she doesn't have hands. So I was thinking animation wise how that would work, because it's pretty basic in the scene so far. She literally just stands there and does nothing. I'm thinking she could just bash into him as the way she could hit him. I just move herself and bash into the hero and then say get out, and then it will just carry on, because obviously she can't punch him, she's got no hands. Maybe every time she opposes the hero ties her up and holds her out the edge of a cliff. We need to clip the barrel romance talk for prosperity. Yes. Do you know it's going to be the best love scene that's ever existed in fiction? And do you know what barrels also do? Make terrific firewood. The hero should. Yeah, you know what, Kia? There's been a few people that have said that would be a really good threat, to threaten to burn Carol into firewood. The only complication is that Carol holds all the hero's inventory. That's why she's been so smart, because she she doesn't trust the hero. She knows that the hero could easily just kill her if he gets annoyed with her. She doesn't trust any humans. So she's like, well, she knew what she was doing when she offered to be their inventory, because even the most evil and ruthless of heroes wouldn't like hurt or burn their inventory. That would ruin everything. So the only thing that he could do is just put his inventory somewhere else, but there's nothing else as far as Carol's aware. Nothing as roomy and as big as her. She's a roomy barrel. He can fit a lot in there. And roll out that barrel. Make a comment like that. I can't even type on my phone. Yeah, and for sure, like, we know that if you go down the romance option, it's going to grow from a love to hate to a very blossoming romance eventually. But by the end, it's going to be very sly. It's not Carol's feelings even when she gets them she's not going to just be like, oh, I love that, I love it, I love them so much. She'll be like, what the hell? And she'll be like, ooh, gross. And she'll just like really never admit it for a long time. That is even if you go down the romance option. But if you're a hero that decides you want to hate Carol and just be rude to her all the time, I think there'll still be that playful affection deep down. You know, I think even the worst of heroes will still have, it'll be a love to hate sort of friendship, I guess. Because at the end of the day, the whole message of the story is that barrels have a place in the world. If they want to have a place in the world, that is, which I'm sure they do. The hero can throw their trash in Carol. And some people had some really cool ideas about what would happen if you put certain things inside a barrel. And I was like, this is so cool. Someone said last week, what if you put herbs in her and she gets high? I was like, that's really charming. If you put like a certain herb in her and she's literally high. And she's like, as if she's been smoking or something. Imagine Carol when she's high. What would she be like? That would be very amusing. And it was also mentioned that if like sharp objects are inside her, it would probably really be painful for her as well. Like if a knife were like stabbing her in the side, in the wood slats, that probably wouldn't be very comfortable for her. Which is something I kind of wanted to expand on in this scene now as well. And even the worst of heroes need an inventory, exactly. And Carol has been one smart lady. She knows that, yes, you can't do anything to me when I'm your inventory. And it's a win-win for Carol, because now she knows that she can find a family easier with this person. Because people might be like, well, why is she bothering? Why is she putting herself through this hell of being with somebody she despises, and risking her life potentially? It's because she there's no way she'd ever find her family on her own. No way. All she can do is hop and roll, and it's a long journey. The hero's her only help, and he's going to have more of a connection to the barrels than she first initially realises as well, which will make him even more of a benefit eventually, but right now she don't know that. I wrote a little document on that in the Discord, by the way, so if anyone's intrigued, feel free to read it. It's called Character Development, the Hero, and it expands a little bit on the hero's connection to the barrels, so that he can be more involved in the plot. And that will be something that obviously keeps Carol very sort of emotionally attached to the hero when all this unfolds, because there's more of a purpose for sticking with him then. And obviously because she'll have grown to like him a bit maybe as well by that point. And the party as well. But who knows what's going to happen in the adventures. Carol might get really peed off and abandon him at some point. We just don't know what drama's gonna be ahead of us. Or for whatever reason, the hero winds up naked and then Carol eventually tells them to wear her till they find him new clothes. Yeah, that would be funny, for sure. And, you know, it's quite cute because she hates people being in her at the moment, but maybe when there's more bonding there, when Carol's got more comfortable with the humans and heroes, she'd be very happy to have them inside her and protect them. It's quite kind of wholesome. It's going to be wholesome to see the difference. You stupid phone, yeah. Silly typos. We can have small scene with the hero potentially finding a different female barrel for his inventory and her getting... Yes, Meryl. Yes, Meryl. But Meryl's very, very committed to Axel. But still, that wouldn't stop Carol getting jealous. For sure. I love Carol to bits. I want to make sure that her dialogue is always top notch. So we're going to start. Let's begin. Let's begin on the Scene 1 expansion. And this is only part 1 because Scene 3 is going to get a real expansion, even more than Scene 1. So the whole goal is by the end of Scene 3 we have to be in love with Carol as the audience. So there's no way we can stop playing this adventure because we're just too fascinated by this barrel. She's the hook. Okay, so as I said, Carol is an ENTJ, folks. That is her personality type. With the personality types, I'm not a believer of things being stuck in a box. Carol can totally separate from her personality type during certain situations if necessary, but it's a good base just so we can keep character consistency and not lose that vision and that sort of consistent tone of voice for her. Also, one thing I did want to do is note, before we begin the dialogue, just very quickly, I'm going to just copy and paste another box for Carol. I'm going to type here. It's a bit smaller. So this is going to be helpful with the dialogue over time, especially. So this box is going to be most common phrases so that Carol uses, and I think this is really key to do with MP characters because it's going to keep them consistent. It'll make them stand out and be more unique if they have specific phrases that they use. And I've already noticed she uses get out, ugh, and so gross. So let's get those in. We don't have to literally put in every line of dialogue that she ever says, by the way, because it'd be a bit hard to keep up with. But just those the expressions, like those real key things that she tends to say a lot. So get out, ugh, so gross. Like, even when she's in love with the hero, she'll still say so gross because she's not used to the affection, and it'll take a lot of getting used to. She'll be like, what? So gross. So I think they're fine for now as her most common phrases. I can't see any other key ones just yet. So if you are mean to Carol, there should be a scene where the hero needs something he put in her, but she refuses. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of chances for amusing moments, that's for sure. I think it's brilliant that she's the inventory. Brilliant. Okay. But thanks for sharing your ideas, guys, because I'll always make notes. I go through every VOD at the end of the stream, copy and paste and put in a notepad file. any key things, and then you never know, there might be a good opportunity in the future in a scene for these things. Okay, so now this is gonna be expanded on. So the first thing, there's a lot of things to talk about today, but the first thing I want to mention before we expand the actual scene is that I wanted this sentence in particular to change, to be to have like a variable within it based on what your hero looks like. So for example, right, first of all, I'm gonna just copy and paste all this Carol dialogue here because I am going to be deleting some of it, and I want to keep it just in case we need it back. So I'm going to just copy and paste that in a notepad file. I'm going to get rid of the get out of my sight bit. 1, because it's redundant, we've already got it at the start. 2, because we're going to be having something else happen in the scene, so we can't have her to tell the hero that. You'll see in a sec. But first of all the rest of the dialogue is going to stay virtually the same, except with a few differences. So we got get out, hits the hero, slams into him. Oh, so gross. Nobody has ever been inside me before. I feel so violated. That's all good. Now, I can't believe how long I was forced to put up with your prickly beard on that card. For example, something like that. So instead of the tolerate you, just because I feel the word tolerate is somewhat more appropriate for the hero to say to Carol, because she's the one who's discriminated against, really, for being a barrel. But not just being a barrel, she's discriminated for because of a personality and her attitude as well. But I feel like the tolerate word is a better word for the hero to say to her. Because Carol really does want to be accepted, but she just covers it up with ego. And it's not a bad word to use, but in scene 3 I was thinking of the hero saying that something to her like, well, okay, I'll tolerate you then. You can be my inventory. I'll tolerate you. So I don't want it to repeat itself here, and I thought it would be a little bit better if we have it be a bit more of a descriptive insult depending on what the hero looks like, just so we've got some variety in the dialogue for entertainment purposes basically. So if your hero does have a prickly beard, I'm going to make this a bit neater in a sec, but we'll just get the ideas in first. Then, I mean, is prickly the best adjectives? Feel free to share adjectives, guys, if there's a better word, because we want it to be as savage as possible. Prickly, there we go. Oh no, why has it done that? There we go. Prickly beard is just what I've thought of, basically, the adjective that's come to my mind. But that's only if your hero has a beard, of course. So we've got to think of some descriptions for other heroes and what they look like visually. Another one could be, for a hero that doesn't have a beard, something about their smell. Oh, we should have a cursed item, like if the hero puts it in the barrel, Carol gets the curse. Oh my goodness. That would be an interesting arc. Whenever that would happen. I mean, I at first thought that would be an interesting arc to happen when we sort of care about Carol a bit more and have got a little bit more attached to her as a character. So maybe it would be a mid-game to end-game arc. What are you guys thinking about that? Because it's a very, very interesting potential story element, that's for sure. And we'd want Carol to be safe by that point, wouldn't we? We'd really, really care about her. There's been that journey of character bonding by that point in time, so it's going to be more emotional for us to see that she's being cursed. Or an item, if you put it in Carol, they change from barrel to a people. Oh yes, there was an idea actually someone had, I think it's on the Lore Bible, that a quest where they turn into humans from something, and it's kind of made a bit for comic relief purposes, but also so they experience life if there was a human as well. And it's an interesting concept. It's early days, but it's a thought, because it's intriguing. And the good thing about their avatars, like their faces, is that if they were on a human face, they'd still be very recognisable, because Carol has very strong features, those eyebrows, and especially, she'd be totally recognisable, that's for sure. Which makes the inventory thing even funnier. Carol, this is awkward, but I need my weapon. Maybe Carol can comment on some barrel scars if the hero have some. Oh yes, so as for our custom hero creator right now, we don't exactly have the most diverse of heroes in regards to character appearance, because we already have over 200 different assets. And because of some of the very ambitious things I want to pull off, like different heroes sprites potentially, like maybe swimming in the future, don't know yet, but when they hold their weapons I have to do different sprites of those as well when they're in battle. So for reasons like that, it can be very time consuming if I have too many hero character assets when I do different like visuals. Like when we have the reptile costume, for example, on the hero, I'll have to do the reptile costume on every single custom hero sprite. So things like that, if I was doing it for a lot of things, would be very time consuming. So we only have a couple of hundred assets at this point in time. Now, if there's ever a plugin that comes out which lets me do that easier, but right now there isn't, then I would be willing to add more to the custom hero appearances. But right now we're going to just keep it as it is, because it would get pretty wild with the different number of assets if we have scars on our heroes and loads of different things. But they can have a beard, and really the beard is the only distinguishing feature other than really, so that's kind of why I thought prickly beard could be one. Other than that, we can talk about their disgusting smell. I don't think disgusting smell is the best adjective and noun combination though. I think we can get better. So odor, feel free to share. Actually, let's get Google Doc up. One sec, folks. And we can put in any like good Carol insults to the hero in Google Doc. Because it's going to be a bit, the box will get super long and messy if we add it in there. So Carol insults to the hero. Funny, because they've got to be funny. Well, they don't have to be funny, but if they are funny, then bonus points. Then bonus points for sure. So, prickly beard. Now, even if they're not the most creative, I'm not going to worry. I'm going to just add them at this point in time, just so we've got more choice. I mean, we could get better than prickly beard, but it's just one idea right now. So dreadful stench. Stench is a better word than smell, that's for sure. Can't even spell it though. That's it. Dreadful stench. We could get more descriptive if we want. Moist. because we have to think from Carol's point of view, right? She's a barrel. She's made out of wood. She doesn't like sweat like a flesh bag would. So imagine how disgusting the whole concept of sweating is for Carol. So imagine if like there's like this disgusting sweaty human inside of her, they'd be like really grossed out, right? So if we can think of like some really good descriptive, why does it say stretch? It's meant to be stench. Oh my goodness, there. Because it is pretty gross. If you're something like a breed, a race, well, they're not a race, are they? Because they were brought to life from a spell. But you know, she's a wooden barrel. She doesn't sweat. So sweating is going to be revolting to Carol. She's disgusted about having this sweaty human inside her for so long. So stench is a good word. That moist is a very good word. It's pretty gross, right? So the gross, the better. So if they've got a beard, she'd probably use the beard line, but if they haven't got a beard, she'd use the stench line. Now, what about if they're a female character? I can't think of anything exclusive for a female hero other than some like perfume, but that might be a bit cliche, but we'll think. I don't know if it was scrapped. I had suggested a side quest that maybe the hero dreams in the dream and all barrels change personalities. That would be a very funny experience. Yes, that was in the Lore Bible. I remember seeing that one as I scrolled down earlier, forgotten. I think you mentioned what if Hank and Elvira switched places, and Elvira was the very nice, kind one, and Hank was the racist, horrible one. Like, that would be very, very bizarre to see, that's for sure. But it would be pure comic relief, and maybe a wizard, something went wrong with a wizard's spell and it switched their personalities. Maybe they went through a zone that's got something weird in the air that changed their personalities. There's all sorts of concepts that could make that quest a thing. But yeah, I like it. Anything that's like comic relief, I'm very, very drawn to, because we've got to have light-hearted moments in the game too. It's going to have a mixture of all the feels. Also, does the plugin allow you to use for different eye colours? Maybe Carol can comment if the hero's 2 different coloured eyes. No, unfortunately not, because that would double the asset number, or triple or quadruple if we had multiple eye colours, you know. So it's just very impossible for me to have to design. I mean, if I was just doing it once, it wouldn't be a big deal. I'd just go all out. But it's the fact that I reuse all those heroes' assets for other things in the game. Like the reptile costumes. I have to go over every single hero and put a disguise on every single hero. And we're talking very time-consuming stuff there. If I ever decide to make the heroes swim, then I'd have to make every single hero asset have a swimming sprite. So it's stuff like that, those complex additions and visual differences in the custom hero that would make it time consuming. If it was only ever one standard boring hero asset of walking, then it wouldn't be a problem. I'd just think, yeah, I'll go all out with this custom hero creator. I only have to do it once. But because there's so many opportunities where we're going to have different heroes in different it's better to keep the character creator simple so that we can get more ambitious with what the hero can do. So little things like eye colour are so small, and I actually deleted a skin complexion because of that. I think originally I had 300 assets, or just over 300 hero assets, and 4 skin colours, and one of them was super pale, one of them was fair, one of them was medium complexion, and the other was dark complexion. And I thought, I'm going to get rid of the light skin complexion because we've already got light, we've already got fair, so we don't need 2 fair complexions. And just cutting down from 4 to 3 complexions reduced it from like 300 and something to 200 and something, and it's like, it's a godsend to reduce it that much, because then when doing those extra details like overlaying the weapons on the hero, doing the reptile sprite, disguise sprites, it just take away all the time. Hi Vagabond Dog, how you doing? Thank you so much for that raid. Yeah, exactly, because we were talking about the custom hero character creator, guys, because we have a custom hero creator in Raindrop Chronicles where you can give your hero a bit of something unique. I can give him a beard, a different hair colour, different hairstyle, but I recently had to cut it down a bit because there was a lot of assets there, and mainly because there's a lot of opportunities in the game to overlay things over all the heroes, and it would be very time consuming to keep doing that on a regular basis with so many different hero assets. So things like eye colours I don't do, because it would just really, we'd be in the thousands in regards to custom hero assets. So I've kept it to 200 and something assets, and I think that's a little bit more doable when it comes to customising the hero. It'll take me a night or a couple of nights to just go over all of those assets, but if it was in the thousands it'd take me weeks, so you know that's the difference. I had to deal with 20 characters and 5 outfits. That meant 100 animations every time I wanted the player to do something. It's wildly unmanageable, so I don't recommend it. Want the player to drink a soda? 100 plus animations. Want this player to sit in a chair? 100 plus. Exactly, Vagabond. I know the feels, because I went through that myself when I was overlaying different hero weapons on each of the custom heroes. Now it's a piece of cake to overlay weapons on the normal characters that aren't custom. So every other single hero NPC in the game, every other single normal NPC in the game, 5-minute job, overlay the weapon. But do that for 200 some hero assets, that's 5 minutes times 200. If it was 1,000 assets, that's 5 minutes times 1,000. It's crazy. So I have to be smart, otherwise I'd be here till I'm literally 90 doing things. And so yes, I love the little sprites. Thank you, Ghost Liquid, and thank you for coming along with the raid as well. Let's give Vagabond Dog a shout out. Appreciate you doing that. I hope your stream went well. And I'm going to raid and run so I can munch my lunch before I'm back for an art stream in an hour. Have fun now. Thanks for bringing your peeps over. I appreciate that. And have a good lunch. Have a good lunch. I mean, goodness me, I wish I could have a bazillion here, custom hero, different assets and graphics. But yeah, unfortunately, being realistic. But we have like, I think 4, like what we've got. I think we got a few different ones, which isn't too bad. We've done the best. I've done the best of what we can do, I think. Okay. So we're thinking of descriptive insults that are funny, that Carol will say to the hero. List of funny Carol insults. Let's word this better. List of funny insults Carol will say to the hero. So, and I'm gonna put in hero types just so we know. If hero has a beard, thank you, Ghost, for that follow. Thank you very much. You call that a beard? Yeah. So it'll have to fit in with the sentence. So let's get the sentence in just so we know what it is. But you never know, there could be an opportunity for her to make fun of the hero's appearance throughout the story, and we could like, yeah, I think there's something fun about that, like the way your hero looks, there's a difference in the dialogue now and again sometimes. So let's just make it a bit tidier so it's not such a mess. So Carol, I can't believe how long I was forced to put up with your. So that's it. That's the sentence, and gap is where it's gonna go. So let's make this text a bit nicer. I like this font. So now that's if they've got a beard. I've only got prickly beard for now, but if there's any more really good adjectives, descriptive, feel free to suggest in chat and I'll get them all down. So this is if the hero doesn't have a beard, but I would like a bit more variety as well. List of ideas. We will pick one. I'm not sure about the female one now, guys, but it's the only other thing I can really think of, because I don't think the lady would, I don't know. So question mark for that one. It's just easy to resort to smell and stench, you know. That's like an easy one to think of. Beard was obviously super easy because it would be prickly against the wood, right? Like it would be itchy for Carol. And the smell, she'd be disgusted by that because barrels don't sweat. But I can't really think of any others. Nothing else is really coming to my mind just yet. Smelly ass. So that would be... Is there any other? I'm trying to think if there's any other key descriptions with the hero. Let's get our custom hero creator up actually. Just to remind myself and chat what the hero looks like. So complexion, I don't think she'd say anything about the complexion. It's got to be something a bit more, you know, let's not go there. Okay, so yeah, obviously the beard's the perfect thing for her to not like because it's itchy. Oh, okay, so the fact that they're a warrior and hunter, but that's going to come in next. So let's just cope with what we've got so far, but if anyone else does want to have a look at this, and just so you know folks, this is an old version. Oops, I don't know why that exclamation mark is there and that typo, but I think it's worked. Maybe comment on the short hair for the lady, because normally they expect them to have long hair since this is a fantasy world. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends. I mean, if they're a fighter, some ladies have short hair for sure. But it's got to personally bother Carol, I guess, because she... where is this? Where's it gone? It's got to bother Carol to some degree that it was an irritant to her when they were inside her, like beard being itchy, for example, is very easy to do, because obviously imagine the beard against the wood, it would like be such a pain for Carol to cope with. The smell would be a pain. As for hairstyle, it's a hard one to do, is why it would bother her so much, because unless like it was very gelled and spiky and like was sort of like hurting her to some degree. I don't know why the window capture isn't coming up. Oh no. No, don't show double rows. There we go. Done. Sometimes we just have to put it on some other capture and then it works after. Or you could go on the social aspect, because the hero did something socially unacceptable to her. Yeah. So for now, we'll just keep it simple as just these two, either the smell or the beard. If we want to, if we think of something, if something jogs our mind or springs to mind, then we can always add on. But we've got two differences there. So double the awesomeness. But yeah, that's a good point, Van. Though in some way, I think that this particular sentence here kind of in a way might be sort of like about their behaviour and the fact that they were in her and how dare they sort of thing. We'll put just a gap in that one for now, and if and we'll, once we figure out which ones we're going to use, we'll change it. I want to try and get all the text in here so we can see it all at once. There we go. Okay, so the next bit. We've only got like a very tiny percentage through this, guys. There's a lot of really interesting stuff to chat about and mention. So, I mean, the only other thing I can think of, I'm going to add it again. Yeah, with hairstyling, she probably can't even really see it because her face is, she's facing away from the hero. She can't see what they really look like. But she can smell them and she can feel them. So I think the key sense here when in regards to the hero would be their smell and feeling. So cheap perfume. Now I'm not a fan of that one. I think we can have better. But it's something that we could do that works. Just put it there anyway. I think we can think of a better adjective. I mean, what would perfume be called in this world? Does perfume even exist? What do people do to groom themselves? There's so many opportunities for world building here from just mentioning these things. Is there something about this world in regards to beauty and grooming that's unique to the Raindrop Chronicles world? It's an opportunity to consider that now, because if so, then it's a good addition, something like that, because we're kind of just introducing an element of the world that's unique if we have a sort of alternative sort of grooming product or something. Scented oils, second-hand scented oils, interesting. That's the point. Oils in a barrel would be very annoying because it would make her all sticky. So that's a point too. So I can't believe how long I was forced to put up with your scented oils. I mean, I don't know if that has quite the same ring to it, but I do think there's potential there for something oily, that's for sure. So I'm going to add it there. Retin-Me, that could be used on anyone. That's true. Retin-Me, someone who's got long hair, because there's a long hair option, right? So if the hero has long hair, that doesn't their genders are relevant now, because you can have long hair whether you're man, woman or non-binary in this game. So we'll get Ratty Mane down. It's a pretty the more savage the insult, the better. And I think that's kind of savage. So if the hero doesn't have a beard or long hair, then she will probably go for the stench then. And the female one's still a question mark. If we can think of a really, really good savage insult regarding like perfumes or something like that, then we'll keep it. But if not, we'll cut it and just go with these. What kind of female have a dreadful stench? We demand a quality. Hi, Daddy. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Greasy Mane is a good one as well. A female could have a dreadful stench for sure, but you know, it's simply for potential world building. That's why I put a question mark, because I'm still not sold myself on this one. But it's only if we as a community think of something to do with beauty and grooming and anything like that that could potentially like give us a hint on the world that's unique. But it might be cut. It might, because we got some good ones here. Snotty nose. Oh gosh, yeah, she wouldn't like snot being inside her, would she? As for like baby face and pimply face, yeah, let's think more of the smell sort of scent and the feel scent. So anything that's making her feel weird, or she's smelling somewhat horrible, are the key ones, rather than appearance, because she's not exactly looking at the hero. She couldn't see what they looked like when they was inside her. But things like when you say like flaky scalp, the flakes could be annoying, so that could be irritating. She wouldn't want disgusting flakes in the barrel, would she? And same with the snotty nose, she wouldn't like snot in the barrel. So anything like overly gross and like substances, like body fluids being inside her that shouldn't be there, that's very possible. I think those are the best kind of descriptions that we should go for here. Maybe for the lady, she can comment on her weight when she has to hide inside Carol. Oh right, yeah, we got to be careful though, because we don't want to body shame. But carousel hands, cracked nails, cheesy toes. Oh, gross. Oh gosh. But okay, so let's get some of these in. I'm feeling a little bit nauseous just thinking of this. Actually, thinking of that, nauseous is a good word. I can't even spell it though. That nauseous, stench. I don't know why I love the word stench so much. Snotty nose. So that would be under this one as well. Flaky scalp, if the hero's bald or short haired. Okay, so we have a short, like a super short haired hero. He kind of almost looks bald because their hair's so cropped, but it's not fully bald. So if the hero has short hair, flaky scalp. I do like the dandruffy flaky scalp insult. The more the better, in all honesty, because adding these variables based on appearance isn't really that difficult to do in a scene, and it just makes the scene a bit more fun in terms of its replayability value, which the player could potentially do a lot in this game because of the multiple choices we have. So cracked nails, cheesy toes. Gosh, if they were barefooted, then that would definitely make sense. Cracked nails, cheesy toes. That is pretty gross. So it's unfortunate there isn't a barefooted one, because I would totally do that. But you know, we got some good ones. If you think of any more, guys, or if you feel like I should add cheesy toes, then feel free to let me know if you think I should. I mean, I'm very tempted because it's so gross, but yeah. If he's wearing shoes, would it work? That's the question. Could be a smell. Yeah, your stinky cheesy toes. Don't know about stinky though. Not sure if stinky's the best adjective. But I think if we put emphasis on the smell and put that in front of cheesy toes, then it kind of shows that it's the smell that she noticed. You think it should be there, and oh, Carol could comment on the fact that they took their shoes. Okay, yeah, if we had room for that, then possibly, but we don't want to get too complex, because we'll keep it like as long as it fits in there, then it's definitely doable, and it's not too complex then for me. Oh, reek is a great word. I love the word reek. Kind of am tempted to put it in for more of them now. Crusty lips or chapped lips. Your crusty lips on that card. With the ones like flaky scalp and crusty lips and that, it might work better and be more descriptive if she mentioned them being like falling inside, like flaking off or something, but it's hard to think of how to structure. Can't think of how to structure that. Yeah, feel free to, if anyone comes up with like a unique wording of that sentence, feel free to put it in, because I might consider it if it was super good. We don't have to go by that, but I just can't think of any way to structure it yet. How are you going to ever get a date like that is beyond me. Well, warty, flaky scalp. Ooh, yeah, not flowering for our hero, these descriptions, are they? Warty face. I do like the word warty. Warty, flaky skin. Yeah, okay, warty, flaky skin. Now, that doesn't have to be in the short hair one, though. That can be here. But yes, feel free to share your thoughts still, guys. Even if I don't get like the more complicated sentence structures in here, I'll still be looking through the VODs, so it might still work. But I'm going to move on to the next bit now, because we've got a whole scene to fill in, but I might go back to that, you know, if you guys suggest any more, or if or a bit later in the stream if we want to look back on it. Sounds like our hero desperately needs a day at the spa. Yeah, probably. I mean, the hero's probably been in that barrel for a while, so yeah, not the most luxurious method of transport, so they're definitely probably due for a day at the spa. Bad breath is a good... Oh, rancid breath, yeah. Bad breath was great, actually, and I like the more gross adjective of rancid or vile, for sure. And there's yeah. So we'll put both of those in. I like vile breath especially. I think vile's a very Carol word. I think vile, I mean, I just love the word vile anyway, because it's just such an insult. It's very powerful, very strong word, and so simple. Foul breath. Foul's good too. I think you might have remembered, Van, that I love the word foul as well. I love both foul and vile. Sorry, I'll stop. No, don't stop. Not when you're coming up with good words. So carry on, please. Mushroom ridden beer. Oh my goodness, that's so good. Oh my goodness. And I thought prickly beard was good. This, I didn't actually. I thought prickly beard was very average, I'll admit it. But we're getting descriptive now, guys. I'm loving this. Would we have a dash in between mushroom ridden? I'm trying to figure out whether a dash is meant to be there. But something really gross, something really horrible, the better. And something amusing. So, list of gross, funny, and descriptive. Same, but if it hits all three of those, even better. And I think mushroom ridden beard does. If anyone has any good alternatives for that, feel free to say too. But I think we're on to something with that. I think with the choices we've got here, we've definitely got plenty of choice for which one we're going to pick. Especially for this category. Sour breath, mangy hair. Sour. Lice infested something. Oh my goodness, yeah, because she wouldn't appreciate lice being in. How horrible would that be for Carol to put up with? Lice infested beard. Or lice infested mane. I love the mushroom ridden beard. And I love the lice infested mane. I'm kind of drawn. I'm going to bold the ones I'm more partial to, only because we're only going to pick one for each. So if they've got short hair, we've got flaky scalp. So far, if we've got any more suggestions for short haired insults, feel free to say, guys. Flaky scalp's fine if that's the only one we got, but you never know, we could get more descriptive there. As for this, I haven't decided which one I'm in love with yet, because there's got quite a few good ones. I do like the vile breath one for the generic hero. The one that doesn't have any of the others. Musty clothes, tick coloured body, ripe smelling breath. Oh my goodness. Right, so tick covered body. Some of these, because we've got so many in this category, because they don't fall under any of the others, that I wonder if we can make them, some of them, more specific to other hero appearances. I mean, I can't think really. Because if you've got brown hair, or, you know, maybe if you're a hunter or warrior, some of these would be more. Would a hunter smell more than a warrior? I'm wondering all these things now. Tick coloured, but yeah, red hair is an option, guys. So we've got the choice of hair colours are either black, brown, red, or blonde. I'm ginger, have lots of childhood trauma to share. Though I will say, as Carol is someone who discriminated a lot because she's a barrel, she's probably not gonna, I'm not sure if Carol would be the sort of person that would discriminate someone based on their looks, you see, because she's had to put up with that herself. So I think Carol's definitely more likely to discriminate, like, be offended by smells and really gross, unappealing stuff. Something that's personally affecting her because her space is being offended by this stink and these lice and these rancid things. Those sort of things are definitely going to be, she's going to be more grossed out by that than someone with ginger hair, probably. So let's get the clothes in. But yeah, that sucks if you had people mean to you because of the ginger hair. I say that it's awesome. Flame coloured hair is very, badass, I think. And filthy clothes, so tick covered body we've got, musty clothes. Yeah, I'm actually putting old in's even better. Filth is a great word. Grimy, oily skin. Cheap booze breath. Oh, it's funny because if our hero was an alcoholic, then yeah, cheap booze breath would be perfect. But we don't pick traits, do we? But I'm going to add it anyway. Oh my god, piss-soaked trousers. Because would Carol swear? That's funny actually, because we're going to think up a lot of like fictional curse words, and we'll probably use like very like inoffensive curse words as well in our game. But we're not gonna like use anything that's like too real world swearing, because I don't personally swear, so I'd feel a bit weird if we had it in my old game. But okay, so but I like the idea of like the description works, because the hero could totally have wet themselves like in the barrel. It's been a long journey, right? Very, very possible. But I don't know if she'd say the word piss, you see. I just don't know if Carol would say it. But that's something we have to think about. So trousers, ew, cheap booze breath. And well, I think if she floating in her barrel, that would be worrying. Ooh, urine soaked, I don't know, education and breeding. Yeah. Okay. I do think that word better than urine, just because it's more short and sweet, but I'm going to put that in as well. There's some really good ones, guys. Super creative, I love it. Thanks so much for all the ideas. It's amazing. But we haven't even got round to the rest of it. I've got some super juicy thoughts to share about this scene, guys, and we haven't even got to it yet, which is great. Because I'm really happy that we spent a lot of time coming up with some really powerful, gross descriptions. Because we want to make an impression, don't we, in that little gap there. And obviously, it's a variable, so whatever's in that gap will change based on what your hero actually is. So for now, I'm going to just keep it like that. And when we finally decide which ones it's going to be, I'm going to just present it a bit better and kind of show which one it'll be based on the hero. I'll do it like this. I'll put the little yellow box above based on what the variable is, like just like we did for Fiona. But we'll get in the next stuff now. So the next stage of the scene is, now the next bit is going to be that adding something about the weapon being inside her and being the pain in her backside to show that certain items being inside Carol can have an effect on her. For example, they can hurt her if they are sharp. So my idea was here just a little short extra sentence that says, something like this. Now this could be edited to something a little bit better if we feel it's not the right flow, but this is a first draft, so Now, that's if it's a warrior, and that's if it's a hunter. I'm gonna have to make this a bit longer, just so right, so I want to change that dialogue to something a bit that sounds a bit better. This is literally just first thoughts. Backside, I'm not sure about, because barrels don't have backsides, right? What is the equivalent of a butt for a barrel? What part of the barrel is the butt? I swear we had this question in chat a couple of months back, and it got mentioned what the butt was. But basically the purpose of this sentence is just to show that, to give the player, the audience, the first glimpse into the fact that things being in Carol can harm her. So obviously a sharp weapon will kind of hurt her a bit, right? So it's just to clue the player in on the fact that, Carol's not immune to pain. The whole purpose of the scene 1 and scene 3 when we meet Carol is that we want to figure out her desires, her vulnerabilities and her fears, and that those key things are going to draw us to her and get us emotionally attached and curious about her too. So here, barrel parts, we can use pain in the bunghole. Oh my goodness, something really works with that as well. So that's what the pain in my bunghole was. Is that how it's spelled? No gap. Oh my goodness, I like it. So wait, you were sitting in me the whole time with that. I think we can get better descriptions for the axe and the arrows. So pointy and heavy metal were the first things that came into my head, but we can get more, we can use some more some stronger descriptive words, I think, than that. They're a little bit basic. Or pain in the head hook, or pain in the stave joint. Oh, are they other part? I think bunkhole's a good one. I think it sounds funny. It's actually funny. Something funny about that. So we'll go for that one for now. But I'm going to read the article myself later. Actually, I'm going to look now. So I want to see it. I actually think bunghole was the one that was mentioned in chat a few months ago, actually. Oh, here it is. Let me just get this up for us to see. Here it is, guys. It's the Ling Van sent. So, pain in the butt. Yeah, I think out of all those words, bunghole just has the best flow in the sentence, and it's just a funny word. It's like, it sounds like asshole. So, except it's bung instead. So, yeah. But you never know, like there could be an opportunity to mention other parts, like if she ever gets injured or gets hurt slightly, she could refer to other parts. They might have a better flow in the future, depending on the sentence and what it is. But thanks for sharing that. I'm glad we've got it, because it's going to be handy. It's just an image. Bunghole is better, no one knows what a stave is. Yeah, in some situations, stave could just fly perfectly. It all just depends on the sentence, doesn't it? But I think for this, bunghole just works. So as for pointy, can we get some better adjectives for them pointy? So that would be those pointed might be a little bit better. Do you know about the word heavy? I'm looking up the dictionary myself right now. Hulking. I'm thinking what words Carol would most likely use, because Carol's very, very blunt. Her vocabulary's, although she's not crude, Carol's not crude in how she speaks, but she is extremely blunt and she doesn't hold back. So gross, ugh, get out, very short, very strong words. That's why I thought vile and foul would be good words for her as well, because they're short and strong. She hasn't got the most eloquent vocabulary. She's less likely to use like fancy words to insult and describe things. So anything that's like simple but very strong and, you know, is more likely going to be a better word for what Carol would use. And well, I think you can make references for context like, oh, you brought a shield with you? I thought my stays were going to snap. Yes, exactly. So I'm going to save that image and bookmark it because it'll be a good reference for the future. I think there's going to be many opportunities when Carol's going to get a bit injured or hurt a little bit, so she'll reference some of those parts at one time or another. I think that is added later for emptying. Oh, okay. And stabbing and bulky. Okay. So, yeah, useful stuff. Okay, so bulky metal axe, hawking metal axe. Which one? But bulky might work. We'll have those for now unless we think of something that might be even better, but they'll do for now. So the sequence of events, I've put it all just in one big giant dialogue box here because it's the same person speaking. So unless a different person speaks, then we start a new dialogue box. So get out. I'm also actually going to alter this to slams into the hero because I want to just be a little bit more descriptive about the animation here, because I actually want to do a slamming animation that Carol does. So get out, slams into the hero. Ugh, so gross. Nobody's ever been inside me before. I feel so violated. I can't believe how long I was forced to put up with you and with your one of these. On that cart. Wait, you were sitting in me the whole time with that bulky metal axe or those point arrows. Oh, so that will depend on your class. So that's what the pain in my bunghole was. Now, I wonder if this can be shortened just a touch. I'm a bit, I don't know whether it's going on a bit much, if it's a bit long and winded. We could remove sitting and it's still the same. It's not like taken away anything from the sentence. So, wait, you were in me the whole time with that bulky metal axe. It might be a little bit shorter and sweet without sitting in. It might have been a bit of a redundant word. Because I don't like wordy. I don't like things to be too wordy. I like to get to the point but still be dialogue driven. You sat on me the whole time with that bulky pointed. Not sure if the weight is necessary. True. So, how does it read without it? Let's see. So, I can't believe how long I was forced to put up with your on that cart. You were in me. So, the reason I think I put the weight there is that she's realised that it was just like a realisation thing. Because she's like shocked, you know. She's like, hang on a minute, what's that big giant weapon? So I don't know whether without it works. It might be a bit jarring or like feel a bit sudden. So what do you guys think? She definitely know the hero. She could feel all of it, so it might not be necessary. Okay. So I think I'm in a sort of agreement that we could cut some of it. Some of it seems a bit redundant to me, but at the same time, I think we want to mention the weapon just to show that it was a pain in a bunghole. or to like, just to like show that yes, objects hurt Carol. That's like a sort of key character development sort of introduction, if you get what I mean. Like, us as the audience knows now from that objects hurt Carol. She's not a barrel that's immune to anything. I think the way it works, I don't know if you were in me is necessary. So yeah, I do think it could be shortened, that's for sure. It's just thinking what's going to be gotten rid of, because if we did that, wait the whole time with that bulky metal, obviously there's something missing there as well. So, but I think we can get it. So that's what the pain in my bunghole was. You brought oh, that could work. That could make it a little bit shorter, but we're still getting the same like thing across actually. So, because I do agree, saying you were in me the whole time, we already knew this from up here, that the hero was inside her, and we see it in the scene anyway, so it is redundant. So maybe we could do something like that was suggested by Ghost. You could have her say instead, what gives you the right to jump into anyone like that with your bloody axe? Okay. Or if it was a hunter, like that with your pointed arrows. I like bloody axe as the adjective actually. I think bulky metal axe might be a little bit too long now I'm thinking about it. Like we said, Carol's blunt and to the point. She's probably not going to be super descriptive. So, okay, so yeah, the only thing is with that sentence, it's short and great, but it doesn't tell us that Carol gets hurt. It just tells us that she's annoyed by the axe or the arrows. Like, she thinks the hero's got no right to do that, but it doesn't get the message across that she was kind of in pain a bit. So that's what was the pain in me. You brought a bloody axe, or you brought pointy arrows. We'll see how that works. I think there's potential with that one. So or you have a bloody axe. Yeah, I don't know if pointy arrows is as aggressive as bloody axe, so I'm thinking bloody arrows now. Like, same one depending on the weapon. But I like the first part. I like that we're mentioning the bunghole bit first, but I don't know if I'm in love with that, but it might grow on me with the description of the axe and arrows still. We'll see. We'll ponder. Blighted arrows. Oh, that might work. Because sometimes you need to reread. You need to like let it sit for a bit and then read it again, and then you're like, actually that could do with an adjustment. Sometimes you need to do that. I think with this potential there, it might work. We'll reread if we feel it in, and you never know, we might adjust it a touch if we feel it needs it. You could use, if you use my sentence, you can have her say after it, that sharp. Oh, that's a point as well. So what gives you the right to jump into anyone like that with your bloody axe that sharp. So if we did that, that would mean we wouldn't have the bunghole bit. I guess the question is the bunghole worth it to keep? That's the thing. There's something interesting, I guess, about learning barrel parts, and because obviously they're a sort of they have a body themselves, you know, they're trying to take care of their body. I think giving like a sort of hint to the audience that barrels their body is precious to them is a good extra thing to have here in this scene. Otherwise people are just they're not going to get that attachment to Carol. The more we can like show her vulnerabilities, her weaknesses, her fears, and maybe clue us into what she's after too, which we're going to do in a sec, the more likely they are to kind of get emotionally attached to Carol's journey. So and phrasing. Oh, what was what phrasing was that? I've completely missed that one. So you could say, so what's the pain in my book? That's what the pain in my bunghole was. What gives you the right to jump into anyone like that with your bloody axe? Actually, that flows nicely, actually. So right now we've got wait. So that's what the pain in my bung. Yeah, I think we were missing something, and I think that was what felt weird about this particular sentence, this last one, because something in the middle seems missing. Feels a bit sudden that she's like, you have a bloody axe or you have arrows. So I think let's try that. Are we in agreement then, folks, that the bunghole is a good addition? So we got bloody axe, blighted arrows. I do like blighted arrows as a sort of description. I think it fits, and it might work with that sentence too. Jumping anyone like that with your blighted arrows, they're sharp. The only difference is it would be their sharp instead of that sharp. So we'll just have to make sure that's noted, which I've done. So this bit here, we got a gap here. Maybe there could be a bit of something in the scene happens. The hero turns around, Carol's eyes shift. And that's when she notices the weapon. So obviously we got to do something to show that she's seen it, because otherwise it'd be a bit jarring if she was just talking about that and then all of a sudden she's talking about a bunghole. So of course in the scene we're going to have her eyes shift, and maybe the hero just turned slightly so that we can see that she recognised the weapon there at that point. My first time here, how you doing? Hi Ek, or Rav even, Eki Rav, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream, it's good to meet you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're working on some dialogue here today. And she really bitches him out, lol. Oh, put a question mark in there. Oh yes, so there. You mean after the axe and arrows, I assume. That's what we was missing. And I like it. It gives a double meaning on it because the obviously connection with human bumhole. Yeah, I feel the same way. I think there's something a bit humorous about the word bunghole, and I think it being referenced more in the future in dialogue when Carol's talking about herself would be quite good as well. Could be almost like a running joke. You should make it a question mark and an exclamation point to get. Yes, I was going to just put the question mark at first, but then I thought, nah, the exclamation mark just gives it more oomph. And how is RPG Maker working out for you? Not too bad, Ekarov. It's a good, easy to use engine, so it just makes life easier for me because I get more time to focus on the story side of things and world building, and rather than the coding. So that's kind of perfect for me on this project. Really, it's not too code heavy. It's more It's more of a story driven game dev experience that we're doing here. Being fun, gonna bounce back to my channel and get some work done. Let's go, network multiplayer. Take care, Vagabond. Thanks for the raid earlier, and good luck with your game stuff. That sounds really fun. We'll see. Let us know how it goes. Less code, more point and click. Yeah, it all just depends on what sort of game you're doing. I mean, Raindrop Chronicles was always going to be a very story rich game, so a lot, like we're talking 50% of the streams, maybe even more of that, will be focused on characters and story and dialogue, and the other streams will be mapping and skill implementation and feature implementation and all those things. But you'll rarely ever see a line of code on these streams, because when we do engine stuff on stream, it's mostly very, very visual. And it's a lot easier for me because code itself is extremely time consuming, and then all your time goes into that then instead of the story side of things. It's a lot for one person. Okay, so carrying on with the next side of things. Thanks so much, guys, for your help, Van and Ghost, with the dialogue, because I think we've come up with something really good. I think we got something stronger now compared to what it was before. We've it's more dynamic. We're going to have different descriptions based on what the hero looks like, so that's a plus. We've got the addition of bunghole now, which shows barrels have got a protective of their own body. They get hurt too, and sharp objects can hurt them, and it sort of shows that she knows about the weapon, the warrior, the hunter, etc. So it's all very good. That's just part one. So now we've got the other bits to do. So the next part of the scene is going to be right. So I made a note here that now she's mentioned the weapon, it's going to be the perfect time for her to say something like this. Now, it could be edited because I don't think the wording of this is 100% perfect, but this is just the very, very basic idea. You'll get what I mean in a sec, everybody. Let's get it in first. It's definitely too wordy, but I just want to get it in so you get the point of what I'm trying to say. That's meant to be an M dash there, so let's get an M dash. I think I've figured out how to do it on, there we go, done it. Right, so the purpose of this is to clue the player and the audience in on the fact that Carol has a desire and she wants to find her family, but before we can find out what she wants to find, it gets cut off because we're going to get interrupted. But in a sec, and then we don't find out what it is she's trying to find, but we'll find out later in main quest 2. So it's just to show us that Carol herself has a goal as a character. She's not just a nobody. But we don't find out what it is yet, and she also will express that she kind of wishes she was a bit stronger, right? She wishes she was more than just a barrel that can't hold a weapon, because that's going to be the reason she decides to pursue the hero in the first place. Because if we don't add this sentence when she joins us in scene 3, people will just be like, why is she following us? What's the point? She hates humans. She despised that we were inside, so why is she following us? But this sentence kind of, we'll understand why she's following us, because we figure out that she desires somebody that has a weapon, and she'll be able to find whatever she's after faster. So and although we'll find out a little bit more of that in main quest 3, we're given the first clue here. And the reason for that is because we're having another part of the scene happen where a villager from Lakefall interrupts us now, which we're going to write in a sec. And it just works better them interrupting them at this point rather than here with the weapon. So they're going to get interrupted, because if we look at the scene card here, I write this scene card about main quest 1. So what happens? Carol gives you a wallop because you was inside her for way too long and she feels violated. That's the first half of the scene. Now, I recently realised that the scene itself didn't have a consequence. We had something that happens, but there isn't a consequence from what happens. And it's kind of like throwing a ball in the air and it not falling to the ground. It's like you throw a ball in the air and it just stays there. And it's kind of like very random and it's unfinished. So I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity for a villager to overhear the shouting, and then it can introduce the whole concept of what's happening in the village, and the fact that they're fearful because of things coming to life, which is going to be brought to life when the hero talks to NPCs around the village. They'll find out that anyway if they talk to them, but I figured it would be good to force it into the beginning scene, because some players might not even bother talking to the NPCs, so that'd be a bit lame if they didn't, because they wouldn't know the plot. But this way, the player will be figuring this out immediately before they even can move in the game. So they're going to hear shouting and ask what's going on, and Carol's going to hide, and that will show that Carol hides from humans. So we're going to do a sprite where she's got a panicked face, like we'll make her have some like big eyes, and then she'll just hide away. And it'll just be the hero facing this Lakefall NPC then. And it's an unknown Lakefall NPC at this point in time. We don't have a clue who they are, but we'll develop them at a later date. Okay, let's catch up with chat. I always wonder what kind of new games people will make in RPG Maker. Awesome. Yes, an epic RPG saga. That's what's being made here, a story-rich one. And we need a bat with a heart emote. Yes, one day when we get more emotes, that's for sure. One day. And though I had someone who could use one of those, I'd been able to find. What tool is this, by the way? This is Draw.io. Alright, feel free to look. It's pretty good. It's the best one I've seen that's free for doing stuff like this. It can be a bit temperamental sometimes, but it's no worse than anything else out there. I feel like nothing's perfect. You got it? Yeah, awesome. So though, if I had someone who could use one of those, I'd be able to find. Okay, so if I had, yeah, that might be better. We don't need soon either, that's a bit redundant. Or I could find, that shortens it more. Though if I had someone who could use one of those, I could find, perfect. What do you guys think of this now? Because I've shortened it significantly, got out any redundancies we don't need. But we get to the point. She's mulling over the fact that if she had someone who had an axe or arrows, then she could find her, ? So that gives us the whole point of why she's going to follow us in the next scene. Without that, we'd just be like, why the hell is this barrel following someone she hates? But we know, we'll know immediately, oh, she's following us because she's after she wants us to help her. Yeah, we get it now. So, yeah. there we go. Now on to part 2, where we have a conversation with a Lakefall NPC. Guys, things are going to get pretty crazy, because I thought of a couple of ideas, and I want to introduce hero choices now when we meet this Lakefall NPC. So we'll get the first option of doing something, because right now, if we look at our story outline, the first time we make a choice is in scene 4. It's ages away, pushing Fiona in the lake, and I want to introduce such a concept in the opening scene, because we want the player to immediately know the ramifications and, you know, how savage choices can be in this world. The choices are going to be, I've got a few interesting ideas about the choices, which I'm going to share in a sec. So we'll delete all this. I just copied and pasted all that, so that we could have the box. We'll put Lakefall Villager here. This one's going to be a little bit shorter though. Also, we'll move that up so it's centered. Now, obviously, Carol's getting interrupted here, because the Lakefall Village is going to rush up to them and be like, what is going on? Basically, that is what they're going to say. So something like, what's all that, what's all this noise over here? Now, I don't know about the word noise. I don't think it's descriptive enough. I want some a bit more down to earth, and a little bit more rabble, something like that maybe. What's all this rabble? I don't know about the word rabble, but you get the idea. Something a bit more casual and more slangy sounding. Noise is a bit formal for someone who like full, I reckon. What's all this fuss about? Fuss could be a good word. I guess we need to think about it from somebody who is fearful. So imagine you're a scared, paranoid villager. Things in your village have recently just started coming to life, because that's what's happening in this village here. You can't sleep at night because of the fear of someone coming and attacking you, I guess. And you're awake and you hear some people shouting. You kind of, if you're a scared person, you're probably going to be a bit like, what the hell's going on? So I guess it's just thinking what is going to be the most powerful word to use, but at the same time, something simple and down to earth, and something that would sound like it's coming from a villager's mouth. So what's all this fuss over here? What's all this rabble? I'm going to put a few in. What's all this? We might not need all. It might be redundant. Ruckus is a good word as well, or ruckus. I think it's ruckus, isn't it? Yeah, I guess it's whatever fits the whole feeling vibe of Lakefall Villages and this NPC that we're gonna make. I think I'm attached to ruckus actually out of the three, sorry. So we'll keep that for now. Because it feels a little bit more down to earth and homely, and fitting of the sort of people that would live here. Might need to make this box a little bit. Well, it is a big box, isn't it? We can't even fit it on. We'll do it though. We'll tidy it up in a bit. Okay, so what will happen is, I haven't wrote a scene description in yet, but basically Carol's just finished mulling over the fact that she could use the hero for her own agenda, although she gets interrupted. Lakefall villager says, well, I haven't even spelt it right. It's typo. What's this? What's this ruckus over here? There we go. And then Carol is gonna hide. So the villager himself wouldn't have seen Carol. Although she's called Barrel right now because she hasn't introduced herself. She will introduce herself in Main Quest 3. In Scene 3 of Main Quest 1, by the way. I figured an introduction scene would be good in there rather than any later. Panics and hides. We'll get her. Okay, so the Lakefall villager wouldn't have seen Carol. They only see the hero standing in front of them. So now I'm actually going to say immediately, just so we know that she hasn't been seen. So now the hero gets a choice of what to say for the first time ever. And this my goal with this, the number one goal most of all is to show the Lakefall villagers kind of fear of living things, because we're introducing the whole setting now of what's been happening here, but also to show how kind of savage choices can be in this game. No, not holding back, but we'll see where we could go here. So how do I do hero choices? I'm going to copy and paste what we've done in the past. We just have 2 boxes here. So obviously we're not going to get a Carol romance point here. We're going to get Carol hate points. Well, there's no such thing as hate points in our game, but you know, it could affect our infinity with Carol. Pretty sure you're Britain. Yes, I'm from England. PJD. I am indeed. Okay, so we're answering his question. What's this ruckus over here? Now, the first one, I'll do the second one first because the second one's more boring. Now the first one is going to be you won't believe this. I just spoke to a living barrel. Imagine how peed off Carol's going to be if you go for the first one. But it's going to get worse. Okay, so dialogues that could come from here. Now feel free to, of course, if you feel like this dialogue could be written more powerfully or be more entertaining, feel free to discuss thoughts, ideas. The nothing one's a bit boring right now, but let's get in the response from the villager first before we think about that one. So it could stay as nothing, it could work because but we could always expand if we feel there's something better. But my idea was the villager could say something like, too much to drink last night, I take it. Get cleaned up. We need you, warriors, hunters, to get busy for us today. I don't know about that dialogue. We might want to make it a bit better, inject a bit more personality in there. Considering we don't know who the Lakefall villager is yet, it's not really easy to do that, but you get the idea. It introduces the fact that as a warrior and hunter, which is someone we are, that we have a purpose here. Even though we were a stowaway on the Barrel, they do hire hunters and warriors here to do jobs for them because, you know, it kind of was already decided that was a thing, because the Lakefall NPCs themselves were a little bit hopeless. They're not really fighters, so they have outsiders come into the village to do little things for them, to take care of the people, and that also helps their business. Like, it helps the tavern's business, and it helps the innkeeper's business as well, because they're getting out a few people coming in and a bit of trade. So something like that for the nothing. Whereas for this one, he would say something like, what looks at the barrel? This one. Drat. First swear word that's well, it's not a swear word. First like little word that's come in my head for that, with all the horrifying stories I've heard lately. Nothing would surprise me. Well, might need to make this a bit longer. It doesn't look alive, but I can smash it just to make sure. Carol. Okay, so at this point, I'm sorry, Carol, I love you. She's not going to die. She's not going to get killed off, don't worry. I know he says it's savage, the choices, but it's not possible for Carol to get killed off this early on. But, obviously we'll get two choices here where we could say, no, don't bother. It was probably just a dream. So yes, Carol, you'll get some plus points from Carol a bit, but she'd probably be a bit peed off that you told a villager that she was a living barrel. Yes, please do. She was a pain in the ass. This is going to be a mess at the moment. We'll have to make this more attractive and maybe edit the dialogue so it's a bit better in a sec. But I'm getting all just the initial thoughts and foundation in first. Why do some people think London is a country and not a city in the UK? No idea, actually. I didn't realise people thought London was a country. It really isn't. Really isn't at all. People are weird, and that's a fact. So it's all gonna end the same. Like, it'll end with the Lakefall villager saying, get cleaned up, we need you hunters to get busy for us today. It's all gonna end in the same way. So let's get the two dialogue boxes in for each of the different outcomes. We'll do this outcome first because it's a little bit more simple. So, thought you could play a prank on me. Did you? Not funny. Get to work. We need you, warriors. Hunters, get busy for us today. So this would obviously infect your affinity with both whoever this nameless Lightfall villager is and Carol, because if you go for that one, you're not off to a good start with the relationship. But okay, so here my idea was, because obviously we're not really going to kill Carol off, but I like the idea of giving the player the option just to show, you know, that just for entertainment value, just because some people enjoy being a bit of an asshole. So hi Tox, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope having a good day. Hi Nerdy Rise. Oh yeah, I'm weird. Yeah, everybody's weird in their own way. I mean good weird here. Okay, so better to be safe than sorry. The villager grabs an axe, prepares to smash the barrel, but another villager interrupts and yells. I'll say some that might be a bit wordy, that description, but basically it looked like it was going to happen, but it doesn't. And I'll say something like, bugger, I'll deal with this later. And this is another reason, like another purpose of doing this is making Carol a threat to the Lightfall villagers this early on, like they were about to smash her. Means it gives more of a reason for why she's leaving Lightfall and following the hero as well. Because she don't want to be there, because she's probably going to get smashed, you know, if you pick that option. But it still would make sense if you'd said nothing either. She's still got a purpose for wanting to follow the hero from this point. She's just going to have way more sass and anger towards you and hostility if you said this. Oh yes. Hi, Just Lurking. Twitch says I want to see this. Oh, did it? Twitch recommended me. Well, thank you, Twitch. How are you doing, Das? Welcome to the stream now. We're making an RPG here in this stream. Feel free to ask questions if you want. If you'd like to. Good to meet you. Also, we have a website here if you want to have a nosy. That goes for anyone who's coming in here for the first time and lurking. Okay, so our bugger, I'll deal with this later. You get to work. So it's all going to end the same. Get to work. Right, so let's make it tidy now. So instead of sticking all that dialogue in 2 same boxes, I'm actually going to get that here. And that means we can delete it from this bit and that bit, and just like put arrows there. Right, it's a big mess. Let's tidy it up. But yeah, that'll be the end then. It's just a very short scene. It's expanded from how it originally was, of course, but I wanted to make the whole Carol introduction a bit more sassy, give it a bit more meaning, as well as introduce a Lightfall NPC, the threat of the fact that they're afraid of things that have come to life. It's the very first, they're afraid enough that they'd smash something that they thought was a living object. And it also introduces the fact that hunters and warriors are needed in this village. Some NPCs might be a bit like, who are you? I've not seen you here before. And you can just be like, I'm new. But a lot of people won't care because they probably just want to be protected. Storyboarding nice, I have no idea how to. Me is fine so far or something. Tabletop or game? Oh yes, it's a 2D video game RPG. That is what it is. Let's make some of this a little bit short and sweeter. Say someone. But we won't see who that person is. We'll just hear that they've been yelled, I guess. It seems the villager that is shaping up to be sounds like a bit of a scoundrel, a little bit of a rogue type of character. I think they're definitely a male, probably. Not sure of their age though. That's something we'll have to develop them and figure out who they should be at some point. But we're going to tidy this up. This, if we refresh it, will be updated right now. Oh wow, it's become the longest scene in episode in the main quest 1 already. I mean, not really. It's about the same size as the others when we'll be finished with it. But what's good there in the UK? Rain is what we have here. I guess it's subjective whether rain's good or not though. Some people hate it, some love it. Have past planning phases of my point and click isometric adventure, have a good idea for the story, but have to sort it out. No idea so far how to structure my story ideas. Oh, that's awesome that you're doing a point and click adventure. It's always good to meet folk who are working on their own creative projects too. And I've no idea to structure. Yeah, it can be a very time consuming process. I've literally got like a ton of tabs open of my ideas, and this is kind of what I go for when it comes to outline. I'm literally sort of doing a long list of every scene with flow boxes where important things happen. So that's kind of what the style I'm going with here, what you can see here. And so you might want to do something similar. It's pretty cool doing that because it makes you like not forget anything important, having that big sheet of important things, key things. A light little big adventure. Awesome. Like LucasArts gameplay wise, that sounds good. It can't be a good old school adventure game. I grew up playing Monkey Island and things like that, so I like them. And for anyone who is working on a creative project here, we do have a creative work channel in our Discord, and I encourage people to post in there and share their stuff if they want to, if they're brave enough, and it's there. Did it hit the UK hard too? Oh yeah, it's pretty bad here at the moment. What can we do? We just have to be hermits inside and be big massive nerds working on our projects. I feel that that's one good way to escape from the world right now, and that's what I'm doing. Never seen something like this in isometric. Something like what? Your game, you mean? Yeah, because Raindrop Chronicles isn't isometric, it's 2D. So I'm assuming you mean yours. Okay, so right, let's neaten this up because I don't like messy dialogue. So this is very long, all this sequence here. So Carol's really monologuing on to herself, isn't she? Rambling. But that's the purpose. She's a talkative person, Carol is. But oh yes, I've almost forgot about this document. I think we've got enough here for words. I'll probably use mushroom ridden beard for the what heroes with beards. I'll use lies invested main for anyone with long hair, whether they're male, female or non-binary, and I'll use and I might use a couple of these for a couple of different types of heroes maybe, but I don't think we need that one, so I'll cut that one. We've got loads of really good descriptive ones. Super happy. So I'll keep that as for now I'll keep that as a gap because I'll look over those words off stream and I'll make a decision of which ones we'll use. Yeah, I wanted that on one line just to save a bit of space. So, get out. Ugh, so gross. Nobody has ever been inside me before. I feel so violated. I can't believe how long I was forced to put up with your on that cart. Wait, so that's what the pain in my bunghole was. What gives you the right to jump into anyone like that with your bloody axe? That's sharp. What gives you the right to jump into someone? Would someone, I feel like someone would have a better flow there rather than anyone. So what gives you the right to jump into someone like do we need that like that there? What gives you the right to jump into someone with your bloody, yeah, maybe that. I feel like the like that might be a bit unnecessary and just lengthen it a bit too much than what's needed. I do like that sentence because it shows the audience that Carol sees herself as equals to anybody else. Like she hasn't got the attitude of, oh, I'm just a barrel. Yeah, you can use me all you want. She sees herself as just as as a human would. Like she's got value. She's got like a lot of self-worth and confidence. She's not gonna just let anyone do what they like. Though if I had someone who could use one of those, I could find my I like this sentence. I'm just wondering if it gets the message across clearly here. Though if I had someone who could choose one of those, might be a bit wordy. Though if I had someone who used one of those, Yeah, maybe that's better. Instead of could use, I just have used. Like in LucasArts Adventures. Oh yeah, I thought you meant your game. I haven't either. I think that's a really good idea. That's awesome. I'd like to see it. Now, what's this ruckus? Interrupts. Runs over and interrupts. Panics and hides herself immediately. Now, this should happen. Actually, at the same time. It's an action that happens at the same time as when they run over and interrupt. It doesn't happen after, so I'm going to put that underneath. Because it might make a bit more sense that way. And then we can link. Makes more sense to link the choices to that as the response rather than Carol hiding herself. So, what's this ruckus over here? You won't believe this, I just spoke to a living barrel. If we can have a more entertaining wording of this, I'd be totally more for it, because my version is very simple right now. Very matter of fact. We can always give it a bit of a brush over if we want it to be a bit more awesome. Hi Rex, how's it going? Hi Carlos Hanson. Hi Asriel as well, and I'm back. Meeting was longer than expected. Apologies, no worries. How was the meeting, Asriel? Have you travelled in North America? I've been to North America, yes, because Rex lives there, so of course I go over there, but I can't right now because of COVID. Back, got my welcome back, Van. You're going to be shocked. And as for anyone who's just coming in, Rex, Asriel, Van, back from lunch. I've expanded scene 1 with Carol even more. I'm giving a bit of lakefall, attention to lakefall here to show that there's a fear of living things. So you as the hero even have the choice to grass Carol up. Now, she hides once the Lakefall villager comes over. You can say nothing and protect Karen. You'll probably get affinity points for it. And maybe some people would say that, which would lead on to that. So if you say nothing, if you protect Carol, the Lakefall villager will think, you're obviously just drunk. I don't know about this particular dialogue here. I think it could be, we could give it a bit more personality perhaps. It's just very basic right now. But I just thought we'll get the foundation in first. And then, obviously, he's like, what? Looks at the barrel. So, you won't... Okay, so let's read it. What's this ruckus over here? You won't believe this. I just spoke to a living barrel. What? Looks at the barrel. So, he'll walk up to the barrel, observe it a little bit. This one. Drat. With all the horrifying stories I've heard lately, nothing would surprise me. Well, it doesn't look alive, but I can smash it just to make sure. And then you can be like, yeah, please do. She was a pain in the ass. No, don't bother. It was probably just a dream. obviously we're not killing Carol off, so don't worry, guys. This is just for the purpose of giving the hero a chance to shine, because we never had the hero even say anything about this massive like rant of Carol. She's like insulting him to death, or her, or they, whatever your gender you pick. She's insulting them to death, and before we just had zero reaction. End of scene. No consequence, nothing. So this time we've got a consequence from all the noise. Someone's overheard and they're like, what's going on? And things could go to literally terrible if you do this. But we're not killing her off, but we get the option to like be like, yeah, I don't like this Beryl, she's a pain, if you got annoyed by her. But it's going to just affect the dialogue in the next scene, because she's going to be more sassy and very angry if you did that. She'll probably still be a bit of a pain if you were nice and protected her, but she'll be a little bit more polite. You'll get a slightly more nicer version of Carol if you said nothing. Lots of pictures in my head and story throw, but way less characters as I need. So me searching for some good mind mapping or something to structure my brain pooters. Okay, Daz, well, definitely look at draw.io. It's free. It's can be a bit of a pain sometimes. It can do things that it shouldn't with the formatting and stuff, but it's probably no worse than any other option out there. It's a nice one. I've got attached to it. I've attempted to change in the past, but I've always found myself going back to Draw.io. And if anyone wants to follow the dialogue as we write it, by the way, because I know that I'm only showing a bit on the screen each time, feel free to have a look in our Lord Barbie. I've sent you the direct link, guys, so you can see that it's all a big mess at the moment, but you can see it as we do it that way. Rose Rain, amazing, thank you. And it was fine, Rose, just longer than expected. Oh, Azriel's already done it. Azriel did it for me already. And these flowcharts and stuff always look so fun to me, but I'm so disorganised that I could never see myself doing something like this. Yeah, I'm an INFJ, so it comes natural to me to be an organiser. And although in the beginning Raindrop Chronicles was more of an improvised project, it has to be organised still, despite the fact that we kind of keep things open-ended, because it'll just be a big mess of chaos and the story won't make any sense otherwise. So if we're going to literally have something good with meaning, we have to do this, and we have to like follow the proper structure of things and do scene cards, because scene cards are my favourite thing in the world now, because it makes sure every scene like matters, like it's not just there for no reason. Like, what we don't want filler. We don't want filler. This will make sure that all the scenes have a purpose, and even if we don't know the purpose, even if we're like, what the hell, I don't know what to write in that box, because if that will happen, we'll be like, I don't know what to write in that box. Then, you know, just unearth it, because it's there. It just hasn't been unearthed yet. And that's why I found when I was writing this, I was like, what the hell? What's the consequence? I was like, what's the consequence of this scene? And then I just like was like, oh, yeah, maybe someone could overhear the noise, because there has to really be a consequence. Cause and effect makes the scenes flow. And this is how I figured out this version of the scene now. So I'm gonna go potty. I hope it goes well. And is Halloween big in the UK? It's probably not as much of a fuss as it is in America, because I know it's a very big holiday over there, but some people still do celebrate it. It's still, I used to trick or treat when I was little, though as I've got older I kind of don't anymore. Kind of got a bit traumatised, because when I was a kid I went trick-or-treating. I wore a witch's mask. It was really ugly. And I knocked on someone's door and I answered it and they screamed in my face. And I was a kid. I was a child and someone just screamed in my face and slammed the door on me. I was traumatised. So it put me off going trick-or-treating ever again. And I was like, was I really that scary? Was my costume really that scary, or were they just a jerk? Oh, I'm sorry. I know. It wasn't an old person either. It was someone, they were quite young actually. I don't know why they were so scared. Didn't they know it was Halloween? Everybody trick-or-treats on Halloween. Should have expected it. Did they really think I was a real witch? Wow, that bites. Trying to give you a trick instead, I bet. Yeah. I was just like, what have I done wrong? I mean, I must have been no older than 12. So imagine that, like, being like, yeah, let's go trick-or-treating, and someone screaming in your face. It put me off. I never went again after that. What about you guys? Have any of you had any trick-or-treating experiences? Okay, so yes, if you do decide to confess that you spoke to a living barrel, you get a bit more insight. You find out from the NPC that there's been horrifying stories. It gives you the first clue that things are happening that shouldn't be, and like that it doesn't spell out that living things have come to life, but it kind of just hints at the idea. And if you've got a brain, you could probably put the puzzles in place to realise that barrels shouldn't be alive. Because I think it's important, before this, when the scene was at its most basic, before this stream, when we literally just had this box but only half of it because we've expanded it now, we knew nothing about the barrels or Carol. We didn't know the effect they had on the world. We didn't know if there was a race. We didn't know if they were friendly with people in the village, if everybody was all happy and enjoyed life together and existed together as a family. Humans and barrels best friends. We all these ideas were, we didn't know anything. We would have just not had a clue. So this just does the job of building the world a bit, because otherwise there's no other real good point to do that. I mean, of course we're going to expand on things in scene 3, but scene 3 is going to be more about the hero's relationship with Carol and the whole her asking to be the inventory stuff. That's how that's going to go. This was more about the effect of living things to the villagers in the world. Not really, just remember getting the most awesome treats as a kid. Big candy bars, fresh baked muffins, cans of cider, great neighbours. It was a lot better than my today's tiny candies. Oh, that sounds nice. One time I showed my grandma a prank can of peanuts that shoots out of those long springy things. I don't know what they are. Peanuts that shoot out long. Are they an American treat? To startle the person. She got so scared and she didn't want to talk to me for a bit. I didn't know she hated snakes so much. Oh really? So you had a bad experience too? I'm glad I'm not the only one. She hated snakes to the point that if I rolled Play-Doh in a tube and started coiling it, she'd have to get up and walk away, really. Oh no. Play-Doh was the best. And Nathan, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Here in Germany, it's getting bigger. I participate on a night tournament on Halloween. Only because Halloween, I like it or something. Oh, that's cool. Are you doing it this year? I scare my nephew every Halloween. Does he actually get scared? My costume when I was a witch must have just been really good to scare that person so much. I should have thought of it that way. I just wanted some chocolate. That's all I wanted. Okay, so I'll instead of putting that in a separate box, actually I'll bring it to these two. I didn't want to at first, but now I'm thinking it might just be better to. It looks a bit odd there on its own. Okay, so looking at that, the scene is literally the same size as the average scene in Main Quest 1. When we do scene 3 on Wednesday, expect that to be a little bit more lengthy, because it's going to be a bit of a conversation between Carol and the hero. He ran like a chicken. Aw. No idea how that worked. Never did it before. I think the targets are lit up or something. I hope it goes well. What are you using? Do you mean what program am I using? As in what this software is? Okay, so we have a bit of time left. I'm trying to think if there's anything we can do before we end today. I don't know if to get busy is the best way to end this dialogue and scene, but I want some a bit more fancy, with a bit more personality, but I'll think about that. Okay, the list of funny and descriptive insults that Carol will say to the hero. So you see where we've got this gap here? This is what's going to go in the gap depending on what your hero looks like. So, yeah, think that one, maybe that one. Now, what's our favourite out of these ones then? Is anyone... Oh yeah, yeah. I wondered what you meant, but I assumed you meant the software. But it's Draw.io. There you go. There's so many good ones there is. That's why I was thinking, is there any way we can have a more different ones that are variables to a certain hero type? So we've got beard. I mean, that's perfect for beard. Long hair, that's great for long hair. We also have short hair, medium hair. I mean, I could just open the images of the custom heroes right now to remind myself of the different custom hero types. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is the class, warrior and hunter. Who are more stinky, warriors or hunters? Who has worse breath, warriors or hunters, guys? And who has more gross clothes, warriors or hunters? Yeah. Snotty nose maybe, but goodness. Snotty nose is your favourite one, Rex? Yeah, if there's any that you're drawn to, guys, out of these, feel free to say. I'm actually going to make the text a bit smaller so we can fit them all on. There we go. Which ones could you imagine coming out of Carol or Barrel's mouth? I'll bold the ones that... well, a hunter may wear leather armour, so he's going to have a more oily scent about him. Okay, well, our hunter in Raindrop Chronicles is wearing he's wearing cloth, like just a green kind of cape. I can get a picture up actually so we can see. And the warrior's wearing more leathery stuff, funnily enough. So, if I get the pixels up, pixel art up, you'll see them with your own eyes. So, I'm going to just pick out a random bunch of custom heroes. We'll see what we get. Oh, we got a naked one. Okay, so this one is a hunter. So they're like I says, they're sort of wearing a green, like your typical foresty green to camouflage, because hunters like being in the forests. I've kind of got a leather strap and leather belt and leather boots by the look of it. I suppose they look a little bit like Robin Hood. This is your warrior, so they're more, well, I guess it is more heavy armor, and I don't know if it is leather, but it's like I guess that would be metal stuff that's going on here. So they're more padded up, more. I'd say that the warrior would be a bit more smelly maybe, because they're all padded up. They're more free and flowing, so maybe they'd be a bit less smelly. And leather armour needs to be ordered and cared for differently from metal. Yeah, I don't know what made me think this was leather, because it clear. I mean, I don't know. What does it look like? I mean, to me that's metal, these shiny yellow bits, but maybe it's leather, the other bit. Oh no, it's probably metal, isn't it? Because you need to have a proper breastplate on as a warrior, especially if you're on the front line. I'm just terrible at seeing the visual differences and things. But this is probably cloth and leather. Leather gloves, leather belt, leather boots, but just a light sort of green over thingamajig. So yeah, metal, leather and cloth is looking what it is. But by what I see, I would say it's just a simple diagram software, nothing special. Oh yeah, it's nothing special. It's a free program, so it does the job for me. I ain't got the funding to afford anything special. Draw.io is good if you just want a simple free solution to doing flow diagrams or something. By the way, like the pixel art. Thank you. Although it's not, this in particular isn't my own, but it's still our game. Oh, I did the barrels though. If you want to see what the barrels look like, guys, check out the Law Bible. They're there straight away when you click on it. Well, not just barrels, but a box and a cookie jar as well. They're original characters. Does the UK have Walmart, Best Buy? I think it does. I think it does. Oh my god, I'm showing I'm a hermit now. Oh no, I'm a recluse. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has Walmart, but I don't know about Best Buy. I really don't have a clue. I don't ever leave the house. That's why I'm as white as I am. I ain't got this vampire skin tone for no reason. Okay, so yes, that is what they look like. So let's have a look at our insults again. We have smelly ones. We have like bad breath ones, and we got clothes ones. Musty old clothes could work for Hunter, because I could imagine they wouldn't really change much. Hunters would have vile breath, probably. I'd say that warriors would be the smelly ones, and hunters would be the ones with the vile breath. That's just me and my first thoughts here. It's only so that we can at least get some different ones out of this, because it'd be a shame to throw all these beautiful descriptive phrases away. If we can get a few out of here, that'd be great. Snotty nose is a really good one, but I'm trying to think, would that suit any particular hero? Because it's more of just a generic one, isn't it? Okay, so yes, so what I'm going to do in between now and next stream is I'm going to just tidy this up, just finalise it, make sure that the gap, I'll decide which one we're going to use, and I'll put it in, obviously, depending on what the hero type is, so I'll have to make that look pretty somehow. Put that there. Okay, that might be a little bit tidier, although we don't necessarily need all these boxes to be too big. What have I done in it with the others? Okay. No, I keep thinking, maybe the small boxes will look nice, but then I'm like, no. Sorry. same size. The consistency, you know, it's there. It's all on one page. Work offline, basic, the same thing. Open source, free. Not my workflow, but okay. Well, thank you. That could come in handy for someone in chat, who knows? I always work online simply because of it being a community project, you know, it's just a bit easier. And also having stuff on the cloud saved in Google Drive, I feel a little bit better about that, because in case my computer dies. Okay, so thanks for hanging out, everybody, and hanging out, taking part in forming the dialogue for this seed. It's not 100% perfect yet. A few bits might need a little bit of be made a little bit better, but this is the basic foundation. So we have some savage choices here early on. It's basic to show you know, that we have some pretty savage choices in the game, like we did when we pushed Fiona in the lake. No holding back. Carol getting smashed in the first scene. But, you know, she's not really. But people might actually believe that. I'm teasing people. It's coming along indeed. But she's going to be mad. She's going to be pretty mad. We'll have to think when we start scene 3 next time, the differences with how she's going to speak to someone who literally nearly got her smashed compared to someone who didn't. Well, Carol's always a sundayer, even when people treat her nicely, but it's going to be interesting to kind of write the difference in intensity between the two. Okay, so it's a fun one. Something I'll have to do as well is, now that we got some choices in scene 1, I'll have to add them here. Because it's all blank. Look how blank it is here. We don't even get choices until scene 4. And then everything kicks off, then we get it quite on a regular basis. But it's all like nothing here, and you know, it was a missed opportunity to get people early on hooked on the game. The hook. Gotta hook them in. Okay, so I think we should send everybody over to someone who would like to see who is online. Who would like to see who is online to send the love to? This stream went by really fast again. It always does. Let's do a trivia before we go. I've said it in the past, I will always do a trivia at the end of the stream. So, you're more likely gonna win Little Master of the Month if you're here towards the end of the streams. Everbloom Forest. Oh, you did it. You did it, Van. Little Master of the Month again. Well, not yet, but you will be. By the look of it, but we'll say. Points. Bandolier. 1. Yay! Kung's on there as well, I think. Kung was put on the leaderboard last stream. You use a whiteboard. What's the putting chalk on? Oh, that's a blackboard, isn't it? Well, I suppose you could call it a green board if it's green. Gosh, I'll admit it though. Or even though I'm not young myself, well, not super young anyway. I'm not like super old or super young, but I haven't written or wrote anything by hand for so long now. I do everything on the computer. Everything digitally now. I like my orange name. Yes, Kung is on the board. I think people here call it blackboard. Yeah, I was wondering that. I was like, I've never heard green board before. Very strange. It's easier than paper everywhere. Yeah, I've got like a whole cupboard full of notebooks, and they're all empty. How bad is that? I love them. I really like how the notebooks look, but I kind of don't want to use them and ruin them, because I don't want to get them messy. And it's just easier to write things online and easier to edit. And plus, I'm left-handed. And when you're left-handed, pen and pencil goes all there. It's horrible. So, yeah. Same. The worst thing ever. So I think that's what's off-putting for me, being a left-handed person, having pencil all up your arm. Had to cope with that at school every single day. Have one finger glove for working with art, yeah. Left-handed people, you know. Every left-handed person I've met has always been super creative for some reason. There's definitely something there with us left-handed folks. Okay, so we're gonna send the love to somebody. Exclamation mark raid. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. We'll go to Vagabond Dog. Vagabond Dog raided us today, and then he streamed again. I always like to pass the love to a fellow game dev, and we'll go for him again this week because it's a pretty quiet one on my following list today. So, Vagabond Dog. Scissors the worst. Oh yeah, I actually have to cut right-handed, which is crazy. I can't even cut left-handed at all. Anyway, I'll see you all on Wednesday, everybody. We'll work on the next carol scene then. Be fun. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.